Well, it is the 6th day in the 8th month in the year 2025. Good morning to you and welcome to the AM show. Wherever you are, we are grateful to you for allowing us into your space. Remember that life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react to the things that happen to you. But one mistake we do make is by judging our life by someone else's ruler. What happens to someone, how someone else lives his or her life, should not be how you should live yours. So just stay within your lane and be you. Because it's just being you that makes you that special person. Until you start being you, you will never know how important you are to the society. God created you specially, so live up to what God created you to be. Good morning to you once again, wherever you are. And welcome to the show. Remember, this show is being hosted by myself, Samuel Kujobrews, and the ever beautiful sweetie, Abochi. Well, let me run you through how today will be. We'll start off with the news review and the AM news. After that, we'll bring you the AM sport, followed by the news review. Today, we have Dr. Kwame Asante on the show. Dr. Jabir will also be joining us. And then we'll be joined by the Executive Director for the Media Foundation for West Africa, Mr. Brima. He'll be joining us as well. And then from that, we'll be doing our big stories. You know what? The cocoa farmers have started reacting to the new pricing that government has introduced. We'll tell you much more about it. Plus, the U.S. is asking individual people who will be traveling to U.S. on a non-immigrant visa to be paying $250. And what does that mean really for you as a traveler? We'll be dealing with that, plus other important stories that we would have to speak to you about. Again, also bring you some drive-bys in terms of interviewing people who are going to do a lot of things in this beautiful country of ours. We'll have that here on the show. And remember, we do this show with you. So your thoughts are very much vital to what we do here. Just go onto our social media platforms and let's hear from you on our issues. And that's how our show will be for you today from now to 10 a.m. Please be our guest. Let's start the show, as usual, as we do, with the AM News by Sweetie Abochi. And remember that the show is brought to you by Syntex Tank, the tortoise tank. We say, strong, tough. Stay on.
Good morning. This is the AM News on the AM show across Ghana's 16 regions on the Joy News channel, on DSTV channel 421, GoTV channel 125, around the world on myjoyonline.com, of course, on our digital platforms, X Spaces, YouTube and Facebook. I'm Sweetie Abochi. Let's get into the details. The opposition New Patriotic Party has warned that the new cocoa producer price announced by the government may push farmers to smuggle their cocoa across Ghana's borders in search of better prices. Finance Minister Dr. Ato Forson this week announced a marginal increase in the price per bag, citing a stable cedi and easing inflation. But the minority says farmers were promised far more and calls this a move of betrayal. Hannah Odame has the rest of the story.
The revised price, set to take effect from the 7th of August, indicates an increase from $3,100 to $5,040 per ton. According to the Finance Minister, the increment was possible due to a strong Ghana cedi and declining inflation. But the minority does not agree to this. Ranking on the Committee on Food, Agriculture and Cocoa Affairs, Dr. Isaac Yao Opoku, who's described the increase as a betrayal to cocoa farmers, called on government to issue an apology to them.
Honorable Eric Opoku, on various campaign platforms, including a meeting with cocoa farmers at Dadia Swaba in the Ahafo region, consistently promised cocoa farmers a producer price of 6,000 Ghana cedis per bag. Honorable Ato Forson, on the other hand, promised to pay cocoa farmers 7,000 cedis per bag if they won power. What happened to these numerous promises? They should stop the lamentations and honor their promises. Honorable Eric Opoku will have to go back to Dadia Swaba and apologize unreservedly for his failed promise.
The minority further indicated that even by conservative estimates, government should have set the price at 3,718 per bag, not at 3,228.75 cedis.
At today's world market price of 8,211, the 70% translates to 84,986.23 Ghana cedis per ton, or 3,718 Ghana cedis per bag.
According to the minority, the new cocoa producer price, which is less than what is offered in Ivory Coast, has a tendency to compel farmers to smuggle cocoa beans to nearby countries to sell in order to acquire higher prices.
This stark difference presents an irresistible incentive for smugglers to divert Ghanaian cocoa across the border, particularly leading to a mass exodus of our prized main crop beans from the border regions, especially in the Western South, Western North, Bono-Hafo, and the Volta.
For Joy News, I am Hannah Odame.
There's confusion mounting over public transport fares as a 20% increase announced by the Ghana Road Transport Coordinating Council takes effect this Friday, August 8th, without the support of GPRTU. The unexpected split between the two main transport bodies has sparked disagreement over process, legitimacy, and who exactly speaks for the drivers. Commuters and operators are now caught in the middle, unsure what fares to expect at the terminal. There's more in this report.
Public transport fares are expected to go up by 20% this Friday. But the usual consensus behind such decision has broken down. The Ghana Road Transport Coordinating Council says the increment is necessary due to three main factors: rising spare parts prices, poor road conditions, and an 8% jump in fuel prices following the introduction of a 1 cedi per litre fuel levy. But this time, the announcement came without the endorsement of the Ghana Private Road Transport Union. The GPRTU says it was not consulted and is describing the move as a major departure from procedure. Stephen Amoa is the deputy PRO of the GPRTU.
In fact, when we saw this communique, we were a bit surprised because we have no idea about this very increment. Our records will prove to us that this has never happened, that only GRTCC will come out with a communique for increasing transport fares. When we saw this communique, we were a bit surprised, for GRTCC coming up with this communique.
The union is urging its members to hold off on implementing the new fares until further talks are held with the Transport Ministry and the GTRCC.
By tomorrow, the leadership of GPRT is meeting the Transport Ministry to talk about this, to find out from them whether the GRTCC consulted them or there has been an engagement between the GRTCC and the Transport Ministry. If not, then I believe the Transport Ministry has to call a meeting to invite the GRTCC. Then we'll talk about it before the Friday. Else, it's going to create a lot of confusion.
Meanwhile, the GTRCC is not backing down. Officials say they feel betrayed by the GPRTU, accusing them of holding separate talks with the Transport Ministry over the fuel levy and failing to report back. Alhaji Tanko is the acting national chairman of the Ghana Road Transport Coordinating Council.
And we are trying to meet the minister or something like that. We didn't get him to discuss. Nobody, even when the thing comes, nobody consults us. Oh, this is what is going to come. Government has made his mind to do this, to do this. Nobody tells us.
The council insists it represents a wider group of transport associations beyond the GPRTU and is pushing ahead with a fare hike, citing the urgent need to offset the rising cost of operation.
The transport body is not for 1 month. It's not for one association. Because you see, you can get this OE. They are not part of GPRTU. So not the only GPRTUs in the country.
But parts of the argument are now being challenged. President of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, Joseph Obeng, says spare part prices have dropped slightly in response to cedi gains.
Goods have responded positively to the stability of the local currency. You see, we've told you several times that we also have our own challenges, even though we are transferring some of the gains so far gotten to the consuming public.
With Friday's deadline approaching, uncertainty lingers over which fare commuters will be charged and who holds the final say.
In other stories, illegal mining is creeping dangerously close to homes in Ato in the Amensie West District of the Ashanti region. 3 major rivers have all been destroyed and farmlands may be next. Now, residents are calling on governments to act before the devastation gets worse. Nana Yaljima visited the area and filed this report.
Mining operations have severely impacted 3 river bodies, Subia, Nyene and Suseng. The once vibrant water bodies now lack aquatic life, a consequence of the introduction of hazardous chemicals like mercury and others. Boundaries of these river bodies have been mined illegally and portions being used to store mining waste. Here is a frustrated resident lamenting over the wanton destruction.
In the olden days, this was our main source of water. We used it for everything. It was safe to drink and refreshing. It was covered by bamboo trees, but everything has been destroyed today. It is useless. It can't be used for anything. It is being destroyed by chemicals from mining.
Cocoa crops are also being attacked, causing many families to lose their livelihoods. Families are losing inheritance as a result of the illegality. The presence of illegal miners has left multiple uncovered mined pits scattered across the community, threatening the lives of residents.
The cocoa farm was owned by my sister. It was passed to me when my sister fell ill. We were able to get at least 10 bags in a day of low yields. It took care of the family and even paid school fees of our kids. My sister, who is now bedridden, depends on it. We lost all in one day. We couldn't have sold our livelihoods to one individual.
Residents of Antwerp want government to intervene in halting the illegality.
Our biggest property is now taken from us. It took care of the whole family. Now we have nothing to fall on. I'm pleading with the government to intervene. At least the perpetrators should compensate us for the damage.
For Joy News, Nana Yaljima reporting.
Now, the Acting Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Anthony Kwesi Sapong, has announced plans to establish a new directorate in Cape Coast as part of efforts to expand the operations in the central region. During a visit to the GRA offices in Cape Coast, Mr. Sapong highlighted the heavy workload placed on the current command, which oversees 3 regions. He noted that the proposal will help the directorate ease the pressure and support the authority in consolidating its growth and achievements. Abigail Eselin-Krumah has more.
On a visit to the offices of the Ghana Revenue Authority in Cape Coast, the Acting Commissioner General of the authority, Anthony Kwesi Sapong, described the visit as a form of employee motivation.
As you may be aware, the President of Ghana, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, his vision is to reset Ghana, to reset the economy. And for us as GRA, part of that vision as leaders is to get close to our people, to know how they are carrying out every day our mandate to collect revenue. And you know, revenue mobilization is key for national development and the president's agenda. So today my visit was to see firsthand the offices around Cape Coast, both for domestic tax as well as for customs, and to assure and encourage my officers to do their best to ensure that we deliver on our mandate on revenue mobilization.
He also shared plans of a new directorate in Cape Coast to expand the GRA's operations in the central region.
Secondly, if we look at central region, western region, and western north, they are all under one command and directorate, which headquarters in Takoradi, which is a very large area to cover. So we came to Cape Coast to also assure them that going forward, as an authority, we intend to create a directorate and sector commanderate as far as customs is concerned at Cape Coast, so that we can enlarge our operations in central region and consolidate the growth and gains that we are having in Cape Coast. Our team are headquarters in Takoradi, but they do work across central region as well. I'm very happy with the work that they are doing here, particularly this Antado checkpoint. As you know, this facility, if I were to let you know, has been put forward by the leadership of the sector command, with the support of stakeholders. And that's why I'm very proud. It shows that leadership is at work at GRA. It shows that leadership is at work at the local communities. And whatever they've done, I'm committing to ensure that from the authority point of view, we will come and support them to expand the facility so we can serve the stakeholders and the community that we are operating in.
The visit was also complemented by a charitable act towards the local health center in Kisi in the Commander Dinegwa municipality in a bid to support local healthcare delivery.
But in addition to that, we work in communities, and as GRA, when we came today with the support of the officers in this area, we have made a donation to the local clinic to support them, because their work facilitates healthcare in the community, and therefore donating to them is part of the social corporate responsibility that we believe in as GRA.
From Cape Coast, Abigail Lissel and Nkrumah reports for Joy News.
At the heart of every thriving society is a generation of people who are not only knowledgeable and skilled, but also possess strong character. This was the central message at the 4th graduation ceremony of Yonsu Project Model School in the Ashanti region, where the focus was placed on the urgent need to prioritize character development in Ghana's education system. There's more in this report.
The school, founded just 4 years ago by Mr. Kwabena Danso, started with only 63 pupils, but now boasts an enrollment of over 700 students, supported by well-trained and dedicated teachers. More than just academics, the school is widely recognized for its focus on holistic education, one that balances knowledge, practical skills, and strong moral values. Mr. Dansu, who also heads the school, believes education must go beyond looks and certificates.
What I think, Ghana has a huge hope on this school because it's training children not for just academic excellence, but it's training them on character development. And that is one thing that I think we need. We believe that education has 3 major goals. Academic development, skills development, and then character development. And these are the 3 things we've actually put together, building these children. So for instance, when you come to our school, we have a program called the Character First Education, where the children are developing values such as honesty, integrity, being compassionate, and all that. And they go through this training rigorously every month, to make sure that the child comes to the school but does not leave the school the same. He goes with something more valuable that's able to propel him to stand on his ground to say this is wrong or this is right, to stand for what is right and be able to say no to what is wrong. And that is what we've done over there. So with the current status quo that we have in this country, where we are turning wrong into right, this is the hope the country can have.
Mr. Danso also raised concerns about Ghana's current education system, which he believes focuses too heavily on rote learning and ignores the importance of character. He called on the Ministry of Education to review the national curriculum to make room for structured character development in all schools, both public and private.
I think that when you look at our current educational system, it has become more pro-academic. And even with the academic, we are not even approaching it the way we should approach it. I believe that it shouldn't just be the rhetoric. It shouldn't just be the theory. It should be practical-based education, where the children learn practically what they are learning, what actually have practical experience with what they are learning in the books. Aside this, so by doing so, the child actually develops knowledge and skills at the same time. But what is most importantly is that we imbibe character development in our educational system. We are talking about corruption every day. We are talking about the imbalances in our country every day because we've left our values. And until we start coming back to where we left off, inculcate in these children values, that is where we can actually say we are being back on track. And so I think character development, character education should be a major part of educational development.
The ceremony brought together parents, educators, community members and traditional leaders who all applauded the school's efforts to raise well-rounded students. As Ghana prepares the next generation of leaders, Yonsu Project Model School hopes its approach will serve as a model worth emulating across the country. Josephine Segos reports for Joy News.
Business update now with Samuel Kojo-Brace.
Let's do business updates now, and to our first story. Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Esiama, has expressed optimism about the current stability of the Ghana cedi against major global currencies, attributing it to the central bank's policy framework. Speaking at the inaugural address of the Bank of Ghana Chair in Finance and Economics in Accra, Dr. Esiama emphasized that the regulator will work to prevent excessive volatility in the currency in order to safeguard the economy from external shocks.
We are using a managed floating framework, and under managed floats, at least the currency must move, isn't it? It is different from a fixed exchange rate. But there's this interesting phenomenon in Ghana which we really need to work to change. When the currency moves in one direction, everybody moves with it. The moment the cedi gets to 10.7 tomorrow, everybody says then it's going back to 15.0. And I ask why. The exchange rate, we keep saying, is an endogenous variable, particularly under the framework that we are working with. And so the cedi, dollar rate must move on a daily basis. It must move. A colleague gave the example that he was in a queue in South Africa to change some dollars. They were in a queue. And right when he was in the queue, they were told the exchange rate had moved. And that's the beauty of it. But in Ghana, let the exchange rate move in a day. There's total news all over the country why the cedi has moved. And yet the cedi must move. When the exchange rate is flexible, it protects the economy against shocks, and so must it be. Our preoccupation is to ensure that those movements are not excessive, and that is what we commit to do. We do not target any band, we do not target any fixed level. Our objective is to ensure, and let me emphasize, that we do not have movements that are excessive.
From that, the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers has strongly kicked against any move by transport operators to increase commercial fares by 20% this Friday. COPEC argues that there is no justification for an increase in transport fares based on its research and engagement with stakeholders. Duncan Amwa is Executive Secretary of COPEC.
I'll be surprised that we allow a section of the driving public to take all of us on a bad ride. If that happens, you are simply telling the Aboso-Okan spare parts people to also go and increase the cost of parts, even without justification. We are equally telling the oil marketing companies to simply charge whatever they want. Mind you, they are also in a deregulated environment, which allows them to price as they wish. And so if we allow this to go, we are simply creating not only chaos, but we are derailing the entire system for the selfish benefit of a few who think that, of course, because they were not consulted or asked any questions in the introduction of the One Ghana levy, which legitimately they should have been consulted. I agree. Because they were not consulted, so they also felt that they should come and, inconvenience the system. That I cannot see any justification for. The numbers do not support this decision, and I think that it is only fair and proper that they withdraw the decision completely.
Let's wrap up by checking out what's happening on the commodities market. And that's all in Business Update for today. Up next is sports, and Muftar Nabila is here. Did I change it this time around? What's coming up in sport?
The arrangement of the name, no matter how you pronounce it, it is still me. Unless I want to be controversial, I'll tell you that it is Muftar Nabila Abdullahi. Others would also say Abdullahi Muftar Nabila, whichever way.
Okay,
it's fine.
You.
But the simplest one is Muftar Nabila Abdullahi, M-N-E.
Okay.
Or Muftar Abdullahi Nabila, man.
Okay. What's the biggest story coming up today?
Well, the Ghana Football Association said that they are going to make a proposal to Congress for the GFA President to go for a third term. We'll be speaking to Dr. Nyaho Tamakolo, who is a former chairman of the football governing body. He will join us via the phone. And then the draw for the Joy Sports Invitational Tournament was done yesterday. The opening match is between the Multimedia Group and Heritage Christian University. So these are what we have for you this morning. And then Thomas Partey too was in court yesterday. He is currently on bail. Yes. Yeah. These are many more here on the AM show with me. Thanks very much for joining me this morning. We'll be starting with La Community Bank. They say that their target in this year's Joy Sports Invitational Tournament is to meet their regulator, which is the Arab Apex Bank, and beat them blue-black. According to the Chief Executive Officer, Peter van der Poel, they want to showcase the talent La Community Bank has got. Wow, this one there, I can finally feel the energy. Excuse me. I can finally feel the energy of the team. Please, Peter, join me here. I don't know. You have to provide them lunch. If it's emergency lunch.
Lunch? They don't need lunch. They've been fed by the Holy Spirit. Relax. We are well hyped. for what's going to happen on Saturday. Unfortunately, we wanted Apex. We didn't get Apex. We got some people who call themselves Yomi Yogurt. We wonder what yogurt can do to a bank. We are going to buy them. Imagine we eliminate them in the football and I beat their CEO, who is my junior in Ogasco, again in the penalty kicks. If you look at our history, we are over 30 years old. We have served this community. We pride ourselves to be the only institutions that watches a child grow to when the person goes into pension. So when you are young, we start with our youth account, and then you move into our student account, then you go into our business account. Then when you finish and you have served Ghana so well, we open a pension account for you. So we watch you and we take care of you from when you are giving birth to when the good Lord calls you.
Can I hear a shout for that? Hey, then La Community Bank is quite a special bank.
Yes, we don't make too much noise. We are resilient. We believe in what we are, and we pride ourselves about the community we serve. We never take our name for granted.
I'm not sure I've ever come across a bank that have got the platform for anyone to have these options from when you are born till when you are called by the Lord. They've got categories that serves every single one. So why not make La Community Bank your bank of choice? Because with them, you know you are well sorted. With La Community Bank, you know that even when you go to your grave, at least there was something available for you. Yes. Get in touch, walk into their offices, sign up, open your bank account with them, and make sure that every single month at least you deposit something in that bank, because in this community, they serve their people with everything that they've got within them. The draw for the Joy Sports Invitational Tournament took place on Tuesday, and these are the fixtures. We have Heritage Christian University. They are coming up against the Multimedia Group. That is the opening match of this competition. We'll be joined by the Chief of Staff, Mr. Julius Debra, and he will take the ceremonial kick before we start it. Adansi Travels will come against McDan. Ayuba Hub will play the Lakias. Geps will come up against ECG. Multi-Choice DSC will play Core Impact Limited. National Identification Authority will play Star Assurance Limited. Youth Employment Agency, YA, will come against Omni Bisic Bank. Including Industries will play Old Mutual. MPA will come against Volta Catch, also known as Tropo Farms. Let's take a look at the other fixtures. So these are the teams that are going to be in Pack 1. The other teams are going to Pack 2. So these are the teams that will be in Pack 2. La Community Bank will come against Emigo Ghana. In fact, it is a contest between two former Ogasco bosses, Stephen Eku, who is the Chief Executive Officer of Emigo Ghana. His senior is Peter Vanderpoel, who is the Chief Executive Officer of La Community Bank. Piva Beverages, led by Frank Ajay, will come against SIC Insurance. Also Services will come against Yak Diko. Will be in the offices of Yak Diko later today to record them ahead of the tournament. Serene Insurance will play Piwak Natural Health. Premier Health Insurance will come up Equity Health Insurance. This is an all-insurance derby. Consolidated Shipping Agencies will come against Ashanti Foam, which is Ash Foam. ARB Apex Bank will play APG Holdings, which is Axis Pension. Safoda Ventures will play Nano and Sons. DHL will play Goa PLC. Labade Beach will come against IS Evolutions. IS Evolutions, their Chief Executive Officer, is a defending champion of the CEO penalty shootout. And as I mentioned, we'll be at Yak Diko. We'll also be going to Heritage Christian University. as well as the luckiest to record them ahead of the Joy Sports Invitational Tournament. Now, let's do a story relating to Ghana International Thomas Partey. He made an appearance in court yesterday, and he was granted bail. Sky Sports has details.
As you said there, he's been granted conditional bail by the court as he's been charged with 5 counts of rape and 1 of sexual assault. Those charges relate to incidents which took place between 2021 and 2022 and involve those charges against Mr. Partey involve 3 separate women. Mr. Partey denied all the charges prior to this hearing today through his lawyers. He said that he had cooperated with the police and the CPS throughout their investigation, which began in 2022, and that he was looking forward, welcoming the opportunity to finally clear his name. Again, in court today, that was reiterated by his defence team, that he had cooperated fully with the investigation with both police and the CPS thus far. What happens now is, as this is a magistrate's court, and this was his first hearing appearance within court, it has been transferred by the magistrate to the Crown Court. So he is next due in court in September, on September the 2nd at the London Central Court, better known as the Old Bailey. He has to appear there in person on September the 2nd. As you mentioned there, he has been granted conditional bail, and that was pretty much the only time that Thomas Partey was asked to speak with inside the courtroom today, was to acknowledge that he understood the charges against him, those 6 counts against him, and that he understood the conditions of the bail that was being granted towards him as well. So he was able to leave the court here this morning. He was wearing all black trousers and a black zip neck top and a black people carrier awaiting for him, which took him away from here from Westminster Magistrates Court. But he will due to appear next at the Old Bailey on September the 2nd, as his case has now been transferred from a Magistrates Court to the Crown Courts.
We go on the phone now and speak to former chairman of the Ghana Football Association, Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo. About 2 years ago, Joy Sports picked intel that the Ghana Football Association had set up a committee of 5 members made up of Dr. Randy Abe, Frederick Echiampong, executive committee members, lawyer Ato Forson, who was a member of the defunct normalization committee, and Vincent Opong, who is part of Pacific Hill. This was a 5-member committee tasked to review the statutes of the Ghana Football Association to extend the mandate of the president from 2 to 3 terms. Well, this story, which is still available on myjoyonline.com, has details of all the proposals that were submitted to the executive committee. Just this week, the Ghana Football Association claims that clubs wrote to them and suggested that they should extend the mandate of the Ghana Football Association president from 2 to 3 terms. Quite an interesting one. We go on the phone and speak to one of the clubs, Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo. Doc, thank you very much for your time. First of all, just as you heard me talk about the decision of the Ghana Football Association to extend the mandate of the president, they go to Congress next week, Tuesday. They say that clubs made a proposal to them to extend the mandate of the president from 2 to 3 terms. Why did the club think that it is necessary for the GFA president to go 3 terms instead of 2 terms put together by now the Follow Norte and then Dr. Kofi Amoah and his team?
Firstly, I think I would like to make one thing clear. Clubs who might have interest for that now, definitely not do that support. But I remember 2 years, I issued the warning to the parents of it against any amendment the statute limit. Indeed, the statute will undermine the football. Now, in addition to, I remember the deal. I believe that any attempt to alter the statutes will be very dangerous for our football. And the deviation from the reforms introduced by Dr. Kofi Anwan's led Normalization Committee in 2019, if I can recollect well. I asked myself one question, or I questioned the present FA chairman, who did not oppose the two-term when it was first introduced. So I asked myself, why now? The Constitution strictly puts the number of terms a GFA president can serve at 2. And this started during the era of the current president. I have further warned that history had repeated itself in several things in this country, and we don't seem to take note of that. And if we are not careful, this can create a big problem. Because citing the downfall of the former GFA boss, Kwesi Nyantakyi, my very good friend, I attributed as this particular thing he himself wanted to do would have been part of his downfall. Now, to me, anyone who wants to stay in power perpetually, especially by twisting the Constitution to suit their interests, is a danger to the organization and the society. So this is what I will say so far.
For the FA president to go for 3 terms?
Exactly.
Did House of Oak submit a proposal for the FA president to go for 3 terms? Did you submit a proposal like that?
As far as I know, the House of Oak have never, ever, at least we have not had such a discussion at the board level. And I believe strongly no proposal was submitted to the FA.
So are you suggesting that Congress should not approve for the FA president to go for 3 terms?
No. Not House of Oak. And they should not have it. Because that will bring a very, very problem. Now, let me make very clear. I think law that from history.
Okay.
What Kenya went and broke is if we are not careful.
Okay. Doc, your point is well noted. Due to time, I think I will have to come to your house for us to have this conversation. But I appreciate that you've made a point that House of Oak is not part of this, and that you believe that no leader should be allowed to make changes to the statutes that would let a person to continue to be in power for a very long time. That could bring problems, just as we saw when Kwesi Nyantakyi was in office. Doc, thank you very much for your time this morning. I appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That is Dr. Nyao Tamaklo, who is a board member of Accra House of Oak, speaking to us on the FA's decision to ask Congress to extend the mandate of the president from 2 to 3 terms and also consider 2 vice presidents. We understand that these proposals were submitted to FIFA and have been approved. The bone of contention here actually is the fact that we report about 2 years ago that a committee was set up to review the statutes. But now the FA claims that it is a club that came to them and told them that they should extend the mandate of the president from 2 to 3 terms. And just as you heard Dr. Nyao Tamaklo, House of Oak is not a part of that. We'll be speaking to more clubs, and as and when we do, we'll bring you details in our bulletins. Thank you very much for your time. Up next is the newspaper review.
now the conversations begin on the AM show. It's time now for us to review the newspapers with me and Kojo. But before we introduce our guest to you, I want to tell you about Syntex Tank because they sponsor the show. Now, Ghana, let's talk about water tanks. Do you know the secret to real water storage? It's simple. If your tank doesn't have the tortoise on it, then it's not the correct tank. That's right. The tortoise tank, Syntex Tank, is a champion of water tanks. It is strong and durable and built to handle our Ghanaian weather. So whether rain or shine, Syntex Tank has got your back. So my people, go outside, check your tank. And if it doesn't have the tortoise on it, it's time to upgrade. Join the Syntex Tank family today and enjoy water storage that's tough like a tortoise. Here's the number to call, 0244-335-168, to either buy one now or find one of our 400 agents nationwide. You can also shop online at www.syntexgh.com. Syntex Tank, a strong, a tough. Our guest to join us for the news review today, of course, it's a Wednesday, so you might have guessed that it's a day of the academics. We have Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante. He's a political scientist and the head Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana. We also have Dr. Jabri Mohammed. He's a senior lecturer, University of Ghana Business School. And we also have Suleimana Brahma. He is the Executive Director, Media Foundation for West Africa. Three gentlemen joining us. Good morning to you all. Let's test your microphones and see who's with us and who we can hear loud and clear. Good morning, Dr.
Yeah, good morning.
Okay, that's Dr. Jabri Mohammed.
Yeah, good morning. Can you hear me, sweetie?
Yes.
Good morning, Jabir.
Okay, great. We can hear both of you loud and clear. Thanks for joining us. Good morning to you. Kojo?
Yeah, so, gentlemen, welcome to the show. As we do always, we'll give you a maximum of 2 minutes for you to take on an issue that you think you want Ghanaians to hear about. We'll start with you, Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante. Well, okay. So,
I think he heard us. It's just his connection is a bit slow.
So we're waiting for you.
Can you hear me, Kojo? Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
All right. Then I think.
Okay, Doc, I want to skip you and let's see if we can fix the connection. And then let's go to Dr. Jabri Mohammed for his reflection for us. Doc, good morning to you again. What's on your mind?
Good morning to you, BT.
Dr. Jabri, you go on. We'll fix the connection with Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante. Yeah.
Yeah, good morning to you and good morning to all our listeners. This morning, I want to look at two issues. And all of them has to do with the economy.
Okay.
The Monetary Policy Committee of Bank of Ghana dropped the policy rate by 300 basis points, which means that it's been dropped from 28% to 25%. What that means is that it has to reflect in the interest rate that the Bank of Ghana lent to commercial bank, which also means that has to reflect on commercial bank lending to businesses and also to individuals as well. What that simply means is that there is going to be an increase in money supply, and that might have a replication in the growth of the economy because businesses can now borrow at a lower rate and are expected to invest to expand the economy. So the economy is getting back to track. Money supply is increasing, but that doesn't mean that it has to increase at an increasing rate to such a way that it's going to create inflation in the system. You will also notice that in recent times, the currency has also been appreciating. And people are attributing that to mean that the value of their money is reducing, especially people who send remittances from home. But let me remind you that it is a currency, and we are operating a floating money exchange rate regime. And for that matter, the currency must continue to move so that we can have stability and liquidity in the system. If that doesn't happen, there will not be a stability and liquidity in the system. So anybody who sends money home, you will realize that there has been a downward trend in inflation, and there has been also a downward trend in prices of goods and services, especially some of the building materials. For instance, the price of iron rocks and others have also gradually reduced. So if you send money home, it does not reduce your purchasing power. It continues to maintain your purchasing power. And if you are waiting for the currency to appreciate for you to send, prices are also likely to appreciate. So when you send home, it doesn't change anything. It just maintains the value of your currency. So they should not be afraid. They should continue to send the remittances home. According to the Bank of Ghana, the remittances has reduced. So I'm taking this opportunity to encourage them that, as an economist, I'm telling them that they should have confidence in the system. They should send down their money. The value of their money is the same, and they will still get the same value as they have to get. And it doesn't mean that if the currency depreciates, you are getting more money. It is just that it's just moving the values up, but prices will also move up to match the differences in terms of the currency depreciation. So they should have confidence in the system, send down their money, let their burden and other related businesses in the country continue to exist. We want a stable currency. We don't want a currency that businesses cannot plan with. As it stands right now, for over the past 6 years, they have had confidence in the system and businesses are able to plan. But the moment there is fluctuation in the currency, it comes with a lot of currency risk, and it is difficult to plan with that. So I will encourage anybody who deals with foreign currency to continue to have confidence in the system and believe that things are going to work and work efficiently. If it works very well, it is a good country for all of us.
Now, because we're talking about this economy and confidence in the system, I want to run this story by you quickly. Now, we know that the Bank of Ghana has injected over $2 billion into the system to stabilize the city. But Kojo Nkrumah has raised some concerns, and that story is actually on page 3 of the Custodian newspaper. And so he says that this intervention, revealed during a meeting between the Central Bank and Parliament's Economy and Development Committee, is part of a broader strategy to shield the economy from currency shocks and inflationary pressures. This is the reason or rationale behind the injection of the over 2 billion cedis. Now, this is what Kojo is saying. He says that he's raising concerns about other aspects of Bank of Ghana's monetary policy, particularly its decision to sterilize over 60 billion Ghana cedis in liquidity since January 2025. While acknowledging short-term benefits in curbing inflation, he warned that such measures, if sustained, could undermine economic growth and job creation. And it goes on, it's a long article, but he also spoke about Good for Oil paid 1.7 billion in fuel imports. And according to the central bank, approximately that amount of money paid under the first program in the first half of 2025 has been put on hold. He also raised concern about gold and cocoa price boom bolstering forex reserves. And he says in addition to the oil financing framework, the central bank pointed to Ghana's strong performance in commodity export. And I could go on, but I guess what he's saying is that if care is not taken, we'd rather be looking at collapsing the economy with these injections and the direction of Bank of Ghana when it comes to monetary policy and trying to stabilize the city. What do you say to that?
Well, the previous administration went on printing spree, and they printed over 48 billion and borrowed a lot of money from the system. Did that actually finally collapse the economy? Under a floating managed exchange rate regime, you are required to do an intervention. So the Bank of Ghana coming on stream to do that intervention, it is good for the economy. So when you stabilize, if you intervene and you stabilize, you move out of the market and you allow the market forces to play. So now the market forces are playing. You cannot say that in a floating managed regime, when the exchange rate is bad and you have your reserves, you will not come in to float. That's why it is a floating. So at any point in time, the Bank of Ghana have the right to intervene. That is how come the Bank of Ghana intervened with the dollars that they have, so that they can stabilize the city at hand. So it is theoretically correct and practically also correct.
Okay, well, thank you. Let's get into the... Okay, so we have Dr. Kwame Asante. Hopefully we can get a clear connection now. Doc, good morning once again. And let's hear your reflections for us. Okay, great.
Right. Today I want to look at the kind gesture Ghana government did to the people of Gaza. And I salute the government
Okay, I think we have lost the connection again, but he was going to talk about President John Mahama's kind gesture and donations to the Palestinians. And every day when you watch BBC, the foreign network now, it looks like Gaza has become a humanitarian crisis rather than what it started as. And so let me try him again and get exactly what he's trying to say on that. Dr. Kwame Asante, are you back with us?
I am here.
Okay,
Can
great.
you hear me?
Yes, you got cut off at some point, but you started with the subject matter, so go ahead.
Okay. Yes, I'm talking about the kind gesture from Ghana government to the people of Gaza, the Palestinians, by supplying them with chocolate and then cocoa products. That is very good gesture. It is not always the case that we have to receive from people. People must also receive from us. And I salute the government for that effort, because if you look at what is happening in Gaza, it's a sorry story. People lack basic necessities of life, food, shelter, water, and the rest of them. So if my country can take a decision and then support them, I am with them. And I think it's a good call. We should sustain that effort and make sure that anytime people are in need and we can, help them to breathe a sigh of relief, we should not hesitate to do that. I salute the government for that.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Kwame Asante. We also have Suleiman Abrahima. He's the Executive Director, Media Foundation for West Africa, and he joins us now, also via Zoom. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Abrahima. So usually we give our guests a couple of minutes to reflect on any topical issue of national interest. What has caught your attention so far?
Well, thank you very much, and good morning to colleague panelists. Well, I was just reading about the Ghana cocoa pricing politics, and it's of interest to me because I grew up, in cocoa villages, and so I'm quite familiar with issues related to cocoa production, cocoa pricing, and the impact of cocoa farming in terms of bringing up people from the rural areas. I just have read the statement by the Finance Ministry. I think there are positive developments in terms of the steps that the government wants to take to improve cocoa production in terms of things like the supply of free inputs and all of that. I just have a concern about how we continue to politicize the pricing mechanism, and I think that's really something that is of concern to me. MPP comparing to NDC, NDC comparing to the MPP, I think it doesn't help. And I read on my Joy Online a disappointment on the part of a farmer. And I can agree with them, because at the end of the day, it's really about what's coming to them. If you look at it in dollar to cedi terms, I think the finance minister is right in saying if the cedi was at where it used to be a year ago, I think what they are offering would have translated to about 4,500, which would have been a very significant increase in the eyes of the Ghanaian farmer. But the reality is that, yes, the cedi has strengthened, but has it really translated into the purchasing power of the farmer? The farmer was buying at 5 cedis in the rural area. I don't think has significantly reduced to reflect whatever gains the cedi has made. 5 cedis of Kenke perhaps remains 5 cedi of Kenke.
Right.
So to the farmer, there's nothing that has changed. And so I can understand their disappointment. And I think it's all about the politics around the pricing mechanism of cocoa, which I think we bring an end to.
Well, thank you for that reflection this morning. Let's get straight into the newspapers. Now, I have the custodian in the Ghanaian Times. Kujo, what do you have?
I have the Daily Graphic, and you decided to, push everything on me now. The Ghanaian Publisher. I have the Accra Times, the Daily Gist, and the News Center.
Okay, great.
This is not gender equality, is it? Let's go.
I just want you to do a lot of, the talking today. But I want to start really with the Ghanaian Times newspaper. On the front page, on Africa Health Sovereignty Summit, let's redesign health systems. That is according to President Mahama. Trade Minister inaugurates IMC to revive Komenda Sugar Factory. Alhaji Salifu Abdul Rahman appointed the Ghanaian Times editor. So these are the stories on the front page. I want to start with the story of over 150 million Ghana cedis released for payment of May-June LEAP beneficiaries. And the story reads, the government has released over 150 million Ghana cedis to be disbursed to 350,580 beneficiaries of the Livelihood Empowerment Against Poverty program, marking the 97th payment cycle of the program. The bi-monthly payment covers that of May and June this year, and is expected to benefit over 1,555,677 individuals. I think that this has been in existence for nearly 17 years now, and the question always comes as whether there's a robust exit strategy for the beneficiaries. Every once in a while, we get into some issues or controversies in terms of how small the money is and all that. But gentlemen, I want to hear your thoughts on this. What would be your assessment of this Livelihood Empowerment Against Poverty program? Nearly 2 decades in existence. What's really the benefit of it? Are we on course? Let me start with you, Suleiman Abrahima.
Well, thank you very much. I think that I've always had a bit of concern about this whole program, identifying people who are truly needy and occasionally giving them, in my view, what really is not anything significant. But it also takes me back to the conversation about free SHS and whether targeting could have been done. And I've always said that if we could isolate people who deserve to be beneficiaries of LEAP, then of course we do have a mechanism to be able to identify who can afford school fees for their kids and who cannot, so that we are able to improve the quality of our education at the second cycle level, as well as improving infrastructure at that level. But I mean, it's always been a question about who can pay and who cannot pay. And that's always been my argument, that if we can identify people who can benefit from LEAP, then we can as well identify people who should benefit. But that perhaps is taking me into a different conversation altogether. I think the real thing for me is, as a country, really cutting back on a number of things and reducing the significant levels of corruption, so that at least at every level of our society, there are bases for people to survive and thrive. But we have a situation where you sometimes look at monies that are being dished out, monies that are being stolen, monies that are being looted, and then you go to certain communities and just basic water for people to drink is not there, as well as other basic amenities. And then we say, oh, occasionally every quarter we'll bring somebody 150 Ghana cedis or 200 Ghana cedis. I don't know how much it is now.
Well, it's about 300 and something cedis for single households. I want to get you the right figures because there's been some marginal increment of this. So they're saying that, 36. So single household gets 384 Ghana cedis, 2-member households get 456 Ghana cedis, and 3-member households get 528 Ghana cedis, and 4-member households get 636. You're right, it's very small an amount.
Yeah, and I don't know whether these figures you are talking about is monthly or is quarterly, but even if it is monthly, we are talking about 300 for a single household and 100 for 4-person household. So even if it is monthly, we are talking about 150 cedis. And what can that do?
And it's bi-monthly, just so you asked, it's bi-monthly.
Bi-monthly, every 2 months.
Yeah.
Every 2 months, if you get 300, that translates to 150 a month. And we have to be sincere with ourselves. Even the government that is paying it has to be sincere with itself that what would 150 cedis do to someone? Yes, for some of the beneficiaries, it is a lifeline. They receive it and they are able to maybe buy a pepper, salt, and so on and so forth, which is fine. But the point I'm making is that as a country, if you look at the monies we throw away, the monies that are stolen, the monies that are, abused, we have enough to be able to do things that would make everyone fine and okay in this country. It's just that the waste is just too much.
Right.
And as you rightly said, at what point are we going to stop giving people these kinds of support? I don't think that it is sustainable. Politically, it may be okay. People get it, they are happy. But I don't really think that it really contributes to our upliftment as a country.
Right.
But let's stay with Mr. Brown. Mr. Brown, from the reflections you've had about this, what must we do to change the fortunes of this particular program for the beneficiaries?
Well, I've seen poverty alleviation programs being implemented by a number of non-profit organizations that I think tends to be quite transformational because, for example, there is this mechanism where livestock is provided for persons who are needy in certain communities, whether it's sheep or goats. So breeding goat, breeding sheep provided to poor families, and maybe you get 2 females, a male, and then the mechanism is such that after 2 years, 3 years, you pass on 1 or 2 to your neighbor who is perhaps in the same kind of situation. And this is, for me, more sustainable.
Okay.
Of course, you cannot provide it to everyone, but I'm saying that there are livelihood empowerment programs that are more sustainable than you go and give 150 cedis or 200 or 300 cedis to a family or someone and say, well, spend this and wait for the next 2 months. Within that period, how is the person surviving? I think these are giveaways that do not transform lives, and they are very unsustainable.
Okay. Let's go to Dr. Kwame Asante now. And Doc, the story is that the government has injected or has released over 150 million Ghana cedis for May-June payments for this LEAP program. And we are assessing nearly 2 decades in action, whether or not it meets the Ghanaian at the point of their needs.
I think it's a good topic, but before I start, let me extend the conversation from where Sule left off, relative to what we're talking about, the cocoa politics. If you look at that conversation, it's a very important one because you and I know that this country's mainstay is what? Cocoa. And if you look at the comments that have come out relative to the announcement of cocoa prices, then it tells you that there are a lot we need to do. Now people are moving away from producing cocoa into what? Cultivating the land for what? Rubber. It's not a bad idea, but I tell you then what happens to the cocoa industry. Their argument is that Galamsey is taking a better part of the production and it's threatening their, efforts there. What has government done about this? The past government failed abysmal on this matter, and I'll urge this government to fight on because this is an industry that has sustained and continue to sustain us. And if people begin to migrate from here and move to other places, I'm afraid we are going to be in difficulty. People also talk about the fact that even water that now they need for the cultivation of the crop and to sustain is also a problem. And more often than not, they also talk about the fact that the threat from EU and other bodies who buy the cocoa, that now they are seeing particles of heavy metals in it. So Galamsey should be a serious fight if we really want to sustain cocoa and, for that matter, to sustain this country's development. Otherwise, we are going to be in serious difficulty. And then, of course, prices must be attractive to also encourage people to be on the field. I have been on cocoa farms since I was born because my parents were cocoa farmers. And so I know what they are talking about. That aside, then I move on to the LEAP program. I think the views expressed so far are in line with what we all need to know. Because this is a program that if you give somebody 300 Ghana every 2 months, it's a joke. We need to be plain about it. What are we going to do? Even a day, 300, depending on your program for the household. So what Sule said, I am also in support of that. More sustainable programs like animal rearing and all that. I know some of the assemblies have taken up certain programs that they help people to, for instance, to breed fish and the rest of them, right? But my difficulty is that when it comes to the last end of what? The food chain, marketing, it becomes a problem. If you look at good money that government throws out in the area of what? Fish farming. It's a good thing, but at the end of the day, who buys the fish for them is a problem. And these are some of the things, if we want to put our acts together, deal with what? Our reckless finances, be disciplined about finance, and then plug all the loopholes relative to what? Corruption. Because Transparency International, the local branch, GII, had told us that over $3 billion slipped through our fingers through corruption. If these things could be channeled into this and then strengthen that program, I'm sure we are going to deal with poverty head on. Poverty is endemic in this country, and it is the enemy to our democracy. And if we want to maintain this democracy and sustain it to the level that we want, we need to deal with what? The poverty levels of this country.
All right.
I know that governments have done their bits over the years, but it's not enough, so they should do more. If you want me to touch on something else,
Dr. Santi, before you move on, I mean, in talking about LEAP, and yourself and Mr. Brimer all agree that we need to probably rethink the whole program. But we've implemented LEAP for over a decade. We haven't seen much changes. Whose job is it to get government to say, look, halt, rethink, replan, and reintroduce so that we can have a better system? If we leave it to government, are we sure that we can get them to start thinking? Or can we as citizens play a role?
Obviously, you realize that public policy emanates from government. And so I expect that if you put a public policy in place, you do the last bit of public policy, what? Evaluation. You assess whether the program is worth maintaining, or you jettison the program altogether, or you strengthen it. Is that what we are seeing? Then you ask yourself, the policymakers in the ministry, department, and agencies, what are they doing there? Are they drawing salaries? And yet we have a policy failure every time we throw in what? Or more money into it. No, but of course, we also can bring what? Pressure to bear on it. And this is where you see what? Interest groups, they come in to come and support policy programs to make it what? Dynamic and what? Sustainable. So interest group, pressure groups can bring pressure to bear on the matter. And then we'll call government to order that, look here, this is the direction we need to go. But I expect government that once you put a policy in place, the last bit of the policy cycle is evaluation. Where is evaluation? And any policy that you cannot evaluate is not worth its salt.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Kwame Asante. Dr. Mohammed, it's time for us to hear your take on this matter now. And I mean, as an economist, from the financial perspective, often we hear stories of delayed payment. And I want to say it's because of irregular funding source for this LEAP program. And we've also established in this conversation that the money is just too small to make anything out of. What do you say about how far we've come with the LEAP program?
Well, significantly, the LEAP program has been there for some time now. I quite remember that in culminating to the end of President Mahama's administration in 2015, in one of his State of Nations address, he brought a number of beneficiaries to Parliament, and they told us, he told each of them their story and allowed them to stand up and wave the gallery for people to see them. If you can remember, this was done. How the people were able to use the money to translate into something beneficiary. In the national, yes, it may be small, but it's about how the people themselves manage it. I know my senior colleagues have spoken a lot about the fact that corruption, money that is gone into corruption, would have been used substantially to improve on the lot of the people. Just imagine that 1 billion Ghana cedis gone into corruption. It means that it can finance the LEAP by 6.667 times of the 150 million that we see. So if 3 billion is gone into corruption, it can finance the LEAP 20.1 times of the total amount of money. So it tells us that corruption is the canker that is affecting some of these areas. Because if 384 cedis that you give to somebody, a single household, or you give 600 and something to four people in the household, That tells you that it is marginally small, given the fact that even at a point in time, inflation went up to about 54%, which means that before the money even enters inside their hands, the money might have even gone into inflation before they even receive the money. It has gone back to the government through inflationary taxes. So these are measures that we have to put in place. Others have spoken about small ruminant program, where you can use that to transform the lives of the people. The people don't want, if you are giving them unemployment transfer, unemployment benefit, it means that it is something that you give to them frequently. If you give them a trade, or if you give them something that they can probably benefit out of it, like the small ruminant program, they have some sheep, they have some goat that they can rear. Most of them are living in communities where they can easily do some of these things. So if you are put into that structure, they know that they rear a sheep, they rear some goats. At the end of every period, they are able to pick some of them and sell, and they can make something out of it. That will be more beneficial. But some studies have shown that the LEAP program has really been beneficial to people who receive it. And you know what happens in terms of it. And Dr. Ashanti just spoke about policy, what do you call it?
Public policy.
Flexibility, public policy, and at the same time spoke about monitoring and evaluation, which is very critical to most of the policies that we implement. How far have we thoroughly monitored the program? How far have we been able to conduct proper research into the program and come out with findings that is showing that it has really been beneficial to them? And how much amount of money can we give to people to be able to uplift them from where they are to a particular level? What additional trade can we add to it so that their children can fully benefit out of it? Can we use the National Apprenticeship Program so that that could be a leapfrog in terms of improvement in their living condition? We should not just leave them there and we'll continue to give them something small. Let's see what the government can also get from them. Because if they're able to learn a trade and they begin to work, the work will help to improve the economy. But if they don't learn any trade and they're just there and you continue to dole out to them, and their children will not also see the benefit or the light of the day. So let's transition away from just giving them the money to begin to introduce the small ruminant program, to begin to introduce the National Apprenticeship Program to some of these beneficiaries. Because it's about 1.something million households benefiting from it. So if each of the 1.something million households, it can even be a case study for the National Apprenticeship Program, where proper poor people are going to be identified, they are picked from their loopholes, and they are trained so that we can see that their parents were poor. We have been picked from that place, and we have put them into trade. This is what they have been able to take their people out of the receiving of the program, the more better avenue. So let's see how we can transcend the policy in that particular direction.
Thank you, Dr. Mohammed. And that's it for the Ghanaian Times. But I do want to get this story on the back page in. It says Foreign Affairs launches Made in Ghana Bazaar. And what actually, piqued my interest is often when we talk about, promoting Made in Ghana goods, it's like the disconnect is coming from we, the Ghanaians, who don't have a taste for our own goods and products. And so this is what the foreign minister is saying that they've done to demonstrate their commitment to actually promoting Made in Ghana goods. It includes one, the introduction of key performance indicators for ambassadors with a specific focus on promoting Ghanaian products. They also say they're going to do compulsory promotion of Made in Ghana goods at all National Day events that would be hosted by Ghana's diplomatic missions, and the exclusive serving of Made in Ghana food at official state events. And Mr. Blackwell also added that all humanitarian donations made by the ministry would henceforth consist of only Made in Ghana products. And finally, he says they also look at policy directive prioritizing Ghanaian suppliers in the ministry's contracting processes. So, quote, every procurement we make starts with the question, do we have a Ghanaian company with the capacity to deliver? If yes, then the job stays there. And so these are the new measures they've introduced to help promote the buy Ghana, wear Ghana, patronize Ghana goods and services. Kojo, you can get your story in, so when we get to our guests, they can reflect on all these for us.
Let's do the daily graphic now. And the biggest story on the front page is high lending rates era over. Governor to financial institutions. And I'm sure that will pique our interest because all of us do, how much banks lend to people in the long run affect how much we buy things and all of that in the economy. Now the governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Pandit Asiama, has called on the financial sector to assess its credit infrastructure as the era of high lending rates draws to a close. He said a consistent decline in inflation and the strengthening of the Ghana cedi had paved the way for a shift away from the tight monetary policy stance adopted over the past few years. And we understand the monetary policy rate has been reduced from 28 to 25%. So I want to find out from you, and I'll start from Dr. Jabir because he's an economist here. How should banks then, or how immediate will the impact of this reduction reflect on lending rates so that Ghanaians can know, okay, if I go to the bank today or tomorrow, this is how much I'm going to get the rate?
Kojo, the lending rate fits into 4 factors.
Okay.
One has to do with the Ghana referencing rate. And the Ghana referencing rate has 3 key factors that compute it. We have the monetary policy rate. So if the monetary policy rate has dropped, it means that automatically the Ghana reference rate is going to drop.
Okay.
Then we have the treasury bill rate. That is also coming downward, which means that the lending rate has to reduce. Then we have the interbank rate. So these are the 3 components that come together to constitute the Ghana referencing rate. And also the additional cash reserve requirement that the banks sometimes also put in their vote. So the banks also put an amount of money in their vote. So these 4 components come together to constitute the Ghana referencing rate, how to compute the Ghana referencing rate. So if all of these are trending downward, it means that the Ghana referencing rate is going to come down. Now, the most critical element that the banks will now look at is their risk premium. The risk premium is born as a result of their non-performing loans and other factors that may account to the borrower not being able to pay back the loan. So if they see that you are more risky, then it means that that particular industry risk premium may be high. But one key thing that we may have, problem we have is that most of the banks that we see around, they don't have a common denominator to compute their risk premium. Every bank has a way to compute their risk premium based on the size of the bank and other critical factors that they consider. So all in all, it means that when the monetary policy rate comes down, the treasury bill rates come down, and interbank rates are also likely to come down, which means that the only factor that we are unable to determine outright, which is not determined by the market, but is determined by the bank operational costs and other related activities, that may feed in and affect the bank, the lending rate. So we should see that when these factors are coming down, what that means is that the bank interest rate must automatically also come down because the Ghana referencing rate, which is the overall benchmark, is going to reduce at the end of the day. So this is the critical element by which the banks are able to operate and bring down their lending rate. Okay. So critically, you realize that if this is maintained for some time, you will notice that the bank rate will come down automatically because it's going to be adjusted automatically, and that adjustment will reflect. If you remember, the time that the lending rate changes, because the bank uses floating rates, most of the banks use floating rates instead of fixed rates. So if they are using floating rates and some of these factors are coming down, it will automatically come down. And if they are also going up, the rate that the individuals borrowers pay will also go up, even if it is an existing rate. So that is how the mechanism works within the banking sector.
So if I go to the bank to lend today, should I expect to see a reduction in the rate?
Definitely, because the lending rate will, the Bank of Ghana will update the Ghana referencing rate, and automatically banks are supposed to update their lending rate, and their lending rate will come down. You can even calculate it on your own. You don't need anybody to calculate it for you. You can calculate and know the rate you should pay. If you know the bank lending rate, you ask them for the arrest premium. If you get the arrest premium, you add it to the Ghana referencing rate. Then you know how much money you are going to, how much rate you are going to be paying if you borrow. If you have that financial education, it's not a problem to calculate that. I remember some time back, I borrowed money from the bank when the rates were going up. Every day, I was paying additional 50 Ghana cedis. Then I told the bank that, look, I'm paying off my loan. I'm not going to maintain it because the rate was too much. So I swapped my rate. I went in for a fixed rate and came to swap with the floating rate and cancel the floating rate and maintain the fixed rate. That was what I did, just to bring down my interest payment.
Which means that for those who are servicing loans today, might probably also have a reduction in their rate.
Exactly. So if you're having a floating rate currently ongoing, the amount of money you pay in terms of interest might have reduced because of the floating rate. But if you have a fixed rate, it cannot reduce because you have already locked in that rate at the time you were borrowing.
Okay. All right. That's fine. I'm grateful to you for that. Mr. Brima, come in here. I mean, so this obviously will bring some respite to people. I mean, because all of us, or most of us, do go to the bank to lend here. So, good news for Ghanaians, not so? Mr. Brahma, please kindly unmute for us so we can hear what you're telling us.
Yes, sorry. I was saying that on the face of it, it should be. Unlike my brother, Dr. Jabir, I am not a financial expert. And so just like other people, I think all I care about is how much are people borrowing from the banks, what is the lending rate from the banks. If it is lower, I think it is better for all of us. We are often told that one of the reasons why the bank rates have persistently been high has always been the rate of non-performing loans. In other words, the quantum of people who borrow and in the end are unable to pay. Sometimes I think it may be deliberate on the part of people who just want to take money and cut corners and not pay. But other times too, I think that the interest rates makes it quite impossible for people to be able to make profits in order to pay back their loans. So there are, I think, legitimate reasons, and sometimes people just being fraudulent. It also then comes down to the point about regulation. And I think from the banking sector collapse or the banking sector issues till date, if you explore all the issues, what you come down to is the fact that regulatory mechanisms have been quite weak, even as the laws may exist. And of course, where there are no laws to properly regulate, we need to ensure that the laws are in place. So we have to strengthen regulations so that banks will not take advantage of vulnerable people. And of course, the policies, the fiscal policies have to also be very sound so that we continue to have a situation where people can get loans from the banks at rates that are competitive and rates that enable people to utilize the monies and be able to pay back the banks.
I mean, we were told that the Ghana card and the digital address especially was going to help us, have these rates come down, because then every Ghanaian could have his or her address traced. Is it your expectation that this could probably kick in to ensure that once the MPC is coming down, we expect loans, the lending rate to come down? This digital address system could also help it come down a bit further.
I think certainly it helps. The only thing is that sometimes, again, political propaganda is what worries us quite a lot. Okay. Because, yes, the introduction of digital property addressing system, the introduction of the Ghana card are quite significant in terms of all aspects of our society. But sometimes, as soon as these things are rolled out, the impression is created as though, look, this will solve every problem that we have, forgetting that this may be a new thing that is being introduced. It will take time for us to fully understand the mechanics of it. It will take time for us to understand how, it can enable our system in terms of accountability, transparency, and ensuring that we are able to track people. We introduce it and then, hey, the propaganda begins. This will solve all our problems. With Ghana card, we can do this. With digital address, we can do that. Yeah. I think countries have been quite advanced in these technological stuff. But even in those countries, fraud still exists. So I think it's sometimes the impression that we create about the values of these things and the extent to which they can help us resolve our problems. Okay. It's early days yet in terms of the few years that we've had this property addressing system, digital address system, Ghana card, and all of that. I think it is contributing significantly to improve our systems. But we shouldn't make it look like with that everything or every problem is resolved. Okay. I think if we take it that way, we would appreciate the contributions that these digital investments are making, and also appreciate areas where we need to tighten up, rather than making it sound as if with that everything is okay.
All right, let's bring in Dr. Kwame Asante here, a political scientist, but also a Ghanaian who, enjoys or suffers from the economy depending on how it's going, whether positive or negative. Doc, what do you make of this news that MPC has been reduced and the fact that lending rates will be coming down?
It's good news, but my prayer is that we should be able to sustain this effort. More often than not, politicians will come out with good news, but in no time, the indiscipline happens, and then everything is thrown overboard. If you look at the things that really worry people on the financial market and even the economy in general, issue of inflation. And sometimes you realize that reckless activities on the part of holders of political power, especially managers of our economy, take us to that frontier. That is one of our problems that we face in this country. So I believe that this thing should be, what we're experiencing now should be sustained. And they do everything within their power to make sure that it works for a very long time. Financial indiscipline must be controlled, yes, so that we get value for money. These are the things, because once lending rates come down and all the ingredients of a healthy economy are maintained, obviously it's going to rob off every Ghanaian who is in a certain enterprise. And remember, when you get more people taking their destinies into their own hands and then producing and then acting, very well on the markets, we are going to have a very sound economy. The economy is critical. Sometimes I ask myself that we have all manner of people in this country with knowledge, and yet we are struggling to fix economic problem. Sometimes I ask myself, why is it so? Because I tell you, when we have problems and we assemble scholars to come and speak to you, see lovely ideas. So government must always try to reach out to people who have the expertise, not necessarily people from their parties. They should go beyond and get people who can help us to maintain these things. Because you see, when we bastardize the whole system, then we are quick to go to IMF, World Bank, and the rest, where conditions are unfavorable. But I believe that we can do better if we manage our resources very well and make sure that the people that have knowledge, let us bring them, rope them into the system. Go to advanced countries and all that. When they are in difficulty, there are people that they fall on and they turn things around. And it is interesting to know that even in Ghana, you have a lot of these experts who draw salary from government kitty, and yet we don't make use of them. What a paradox, that we have resources, yet we are poor.
Okay. There's this story on page 13 of the paper, and it's about Commander Sugar Factory. It's back in the news again. We understand government has inaugurated an IMC to revive Commander Sugar Factory. Doc, your thoughts? How can we make it work this time around? Because there's too much. I mean, we have secured loan to make it work. We've secured the company to make it work. All of that. How do we ensure that this time around it works? We should be focused and know what we are doing at a point in time.
You see, I get worried when every time the rhetoric is to the effect that we need to change the structure of this economy, we need to do ABC, and what prevents us from what? Putting it into effect. We have had time and again that we cannot continue to sell raw commodities or products, but we need to add value on them. Issue of sugar, there are countries who have been in this business and is helping them. When I was a master's student, I was a journalist practicing, and I got opportunity to interview the president of Mauritius, who came to Legon for a lecture, and asked them, why is your country so rich and all that? He said, we benefit a lot from sugarcane. And he said, one of the products of sugarcane is sugar. He said, we get fuel, he mentioned 14 products from sugarcane. What are we doing here? I mean, if you go to places, the best we can do is that we chew them, throw them away, litter around and create problems for ourselves. But if we can add value and turn them around into some of these things, it's going to help us. Remember Kwame Nkrumah, one of the reasons why he decided to build that industry, that he is going to have land at the shy areas. Their land are very suitable for production of sugar cane. And what happened after Nkrumah's overthrow? We haven't seen much effort in this direction. I believe that if we want to really shore up our financial base and then make sure that we create an enabling environment for business to grow and so as to improve the economy, one of the things that can really help us issue of sugarcane production that will translate, will add value to produce sugar and the rest of them. Not only that, but let us also move into other areas where we can add value. Cocoa alone. I recall when some time ago President Kufuor visited Creek and they showed him about so many products of cocoa. What are we doing about it? And yet unemployment is staring on our faces here. We can create more industry here if we want to. The Ayensu starch factory, which Alan Cash and Co. followed to the letter, and they were supplying starch to Unilever and all that. What has happened to it? And that is why sometimes you recall on this program I said that if Mahama goes on retired after his 4-year tenure, I want him to be remembered that he left us one important industry that will stand the test of time. We don't want industry that will fizzle out after a president leaves office. We want the one that stays. So, Commander, we need to strengthen, make sure that we put in all. I don't know what is happening to the fruit juice company too, right? Let's sustain all of them and create jobs When I was a little boy growing up, I saw my senior brothers working, holiday employment and all that. They come and work because those industries existed. Today, they have all fizzled out. Let us revive them and create more jobs and build our economy. Nobody will do it for us. We own it, a duty for ourselves.
Grateful to you. Let me bring in Suleiman Abrahima now. Mr. Abrahima, so what's your take on the Commander Sugar Factory and how we have to make it work this time around?
To start with, the factory was established in 1964 by the Nkrumah government, and it worked all the way until in the 90s when it basically collapsed, just as other industries collapsed, and to a large extent, it was down to inefficient management. I think the chunk of our problems in this country really started perhaps around that time. And as we speak now, as of 2024, I think our sugar imports into the country was in hundreds of millions of dollars. And that tells you the extent to which we consume sugar and sugar products in the country. And so I wonder why we, again, done politics with some of these important things. I think it was the Indian government that provided some $35 million or so to start the Commander Sugar Factory. And this was in 2016 that it was inaugurated. Mm-hmm. Then subsequently, we heard that, the factory wasn't completed properly. The farmer base for the supply of sugar cane wasn't properly thought through. And this was under the Akufo-Addo regime. And so again, the issue of politics. Now, if indeed those problems were there in terms of the inadequacies within the setup of the factory and policies around how the factory can be fed with sugar cane for processing, why did it take us 8 years without any serious movement on it? I think, again, it's down to politics, where different regimes wouldn't want to really put into use things that may have been started by previous regimes in order basically to give credit to their predecessor governments. I think as a country, we got to be serious. The $35 million that we invested in that project, if we were not serious about it, it could have done quite a lot. It could have built classrooms for people, could have provided, water, portable drinking water for communities, could have provided healthcare facilities, and all the basic things that our people lack when you travel across the country. You still have kids who lie on their bellies to study. And this is how we waste our resources. I think it is untenable and it's unpardonable. I just want to believe that given that it was started by the Mahama regime, and now he has the opportunity to be back as president, he would activate the process and get the factory to operate in full capacity. Because it is something that we need. It is something that is going to be helpful. It will reduce our importation of sugar. It will create jobs for sugarcane farmers. It will create jobs for factory workers. It will create jobs for other ancillary, things that will be around the factory. So I don't think that there is any basis why we should allow the factory to be the way it has been after investing so much money into it. And again, the point about management. If we are not careful, you appoint people and they are happy because it's a privilege and an opportunity for them to make money instead of ensuring that the company works well. I think that is part of the problem that we have in this country. Again, every appointment is an opportunity to make money. And so you will see people in very critical positions all lobbying for government positions because that's where it is easy to make money. In fact, and it's not about the salary. People don't even look at the salary. People would move from organizations where they are being paid well in terms of salary to still lobby so hard for government appointment because that's where they can get deals, that's where they can get contracts awarded and get kickbacks and so on. So at the end of the day, it will be still down to the question of management and how efficient we will run it.
Mr. Abraham, I want to piggyback from that point about management because I think the conversation has been reignited because there's been an interim management committee that was inaugurated to sort of revive the sugar factory. But also because you've given us the history, I actually thought the factory was built in 2013. But you're saying that it goes as far back as 1964. And so what exactly about this interim committee gives you the confidence that, I mean, if not just the committee, I heard you say that because it was started under the Mahama administration, perhaps because it's their administration again now, they're probably going to turn the fortunes around. But exactly what gives you that confidence that we can actually break that cycle? I mean, from 1964, working to a point and then it gets halted, they break that hiatus, and then 2013, the Indian company comes in, 36 million invested and all that. What gives you that hope that this time we actually see something different, Mr. Rema?
Well, I can only be hopeful, and again, just hope that President Mahama sees the second coming as a unique opportunity to leave a legacy. I hope that is how he sees it. That I don't know whether for the next 100 years, any Ghanaian will ever get the opportunity that President Mahama has had in terms of being a vice president, being a president for 4 years, being in opposition for 8 years to reflect on what he did well, what he didn't do well, and getting the chance to come back for another 4 years. Now, if the president doesn't use this as an opportunity to leave a legacy for which he will be remembered forever as a great Ghanaian leader, not just Ghanaian leader, but as an African leader, then I don't know what else President Mahama wants. And that should give me hope that, look, if I want to leave a legacy, everything that is in my name, I want it to stand. So the people who have been put together, whether it's a ministerial committee or a presidential committee, I have my eyes on it. and I want to make sure that it works well before I leave, so that by the time I leave, this is something that works to support the Ghanaian economy. And after that, if governments that come after me fail to make it work, then at least Ghanaians would appreciate that I would have done my part. Just as we appreciate that Kwame Nkrumah established it and made it work. That's the only reason why I would have hope. Otherwise, I'm sure the people who have gotten the appointment as interim committee members would have received congratulatory messages from family and friends, because as usual, people think, well, this is a great opportunity for my committee members to employ friends, relatives, and so on, and all of that. Right. So I hope President Mahama keeps an eye on it. Okay. So, Dr. Mohammed, let's hear your thoughts on this. I remember last year we had a conversation with some of the farmers, and they said that on the back of a promise that was made to them, they cultivated hundreds of kilometers of sugarcane, you know, and it didn't amount to much because the factory was not resurrected. But this is where we are now, and the conversation is rife again. What do you say?
Yeah, so Emma, I think that in the first place, oh, sorry, sweetie, sorry. I think that in the first place, it's a good start to wanting to come back and revive the factory. Just like Mr. Brahma said, it is very important to ensure that you have a competent management to be able to manage the affairs of the organization. Yes, it is a good thing that the farmers planted hundreds of acres of that. But that notwithstanding, if there is no efficient factory running, there is no way that their products are going to be bought. And like he said, we import a lot of sugar, and sugar is used in a lot of factory activities. And even in terms of medicinal stuff, sugar is being used. So it is something that if we pay more attention to, it's going to create a lot of employment. We're going to have the backward and forward linkages in terms of employment trend. So I think that we have to pay conscious effort, and we have to be deliberate about ensuring that the factory works. As he said, President Mahama has a very beautiful chance to ensure that he leaves a lasting legacy in anything at all he touches. You see, he's going to make it or he's going to unmake it, depending on the caliber of people that he put in front there to work for him. The people see that as an opportunity to continue to loot the state and make millions of dollars, whilst others wallow in poverty. We shall not go anywhere. The company will just be there, and there is nothing that will be coming out of it. We all know what happened in one district, one factory, one village, one dam, etc. These were lovely policies. But what we see in the last 8 years, we saw nothing, but money has been spent. Do we want to see another $35 to $40 million being spent on something that you are showing on the screen? Do you want to see that? Does President Mahama want to see that legacy being left behind for him? In the last 8 years or so, about 35 million was given to him, and the factory could not be completed. What is the guarantee that the amount of money is going to extend there is going to complete the factory, and we are going to see the light of the day? Let's earmark a lot of the farmlands that they go and they destroy as Galamsey. Let's go and reclaim them. Let's use them to plant sugar if those areas could give us that ability to produce sugar, so that we can make use of it. I will be very happy that our students will complete school, they will come out and they will have jobs to do, because President Mahama has created lasting jobs for them. This is almost the 8th month of his administration. What can he show for it? That is very important. 1 year will come right now. 2 years will come. 3 years will come. And by the time you realize, we are voting again. And remember that in Ghana, he only has 2 active years to do his work. The rest of the other 2 years are for politics, especially the last 6 months of his administration. The moment you elect a new presidential candidate, even his ministers will not even be working anymore. They'll be following the new one because they think that that is where the juice is. So he has effective 3.5 years to deliver his mandate. And I will urge him and I will charge him that he should deliver his mandate with all the seriousness that it deserves. So that at least at the end of the day, the sugar factory that we are talking about will be his lasting legacy. Kwame Nkrumah did very well. So if he's reviving the dream of Nkrumah, it should not be a failure of some people who failed some years back.
All right.
It should be a dream that is going to live forever.
Thank you, Dr. Jabri Mohammed. And that's all that time will allow us for the news review segment this morning. But I just want to give the details on the front page of the Custodian. It says, Coca decries NDC government animosity towards Ashanti region. 128.75 Ghana cedis cocoa price increase is, quote, Sakawa, minority slums NDC for deceiving farmers. And ShopRite to exit Ghana. So that's that. Mohammed's new Accra Kumasi Expressway is ill-advised. Do you have any headlines?
Yeah, on the Ghanaian publisher Sensobuachi Islam's Accra Kumasi Expressway plan. I'm not involved in Galamsey. Abanga fires back. New cocoa price insult to farmers. Minority blast government. Transport fares go up 20% from Friday. And Lumber's 1 week to be held on August 13. The Accra Times blame MPP for Boko crisis, but John Mahama will solve it once and for all. Mahama Yariga there. FDA strike stops tasty tom production over health risks. And in commemoration of Pan-African Women's Day, Zaneto fights for women at grassroots. And also, Afenyo Markin is unhappy with the reconstitution of ECOWAS parliamentary delegation. As Sensobuachi disagrees with Abuja's claim Akufo-Addo's road legacy unmatched. And Fish Central MP Haywood, women in vegetable farming, grateful.
Those who join us for the conversation, Dr. Kwame Asasante, political scientist, head Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana. Dr. Jabri Mohammed is a lecturer, University of Ghana Business School. Suleiman Abraima is executive director, Media Foundation for West Africa. Gentlemen, thank you so much for spending some time with us this morning. We'll take a quick break. When we return, we get straight into our big stories. Please stay with us.
Namwaya bien koko mudi kwedi sika kikiribie mudi koko kwedi. Why dare you? Me ame brano obredinya me. Why dare you? Ade 200 Ghana cedis anuru mudi tu koko mu. Mo tiateme me kwaka mo tiateme mo mecheme mo nkume dia mo pano mo nya yabre okuafo yabre eyam kasasa.
So from the video you saw there, cocoa farmers are disappointed in government's producer price for the 2025-2026 season, which saw an increase of 128 Ghana cedis per bag. And Concerned Farmers Association are saying that they're better off with a good producer price than all incentives to be introduced to the cocoa farmers. We hear from the president of the association, who says Finance Minister Dr. Ato Forson has forced too much on them. Also, we'll take a look at, so for this conversation, we have in studio Farmer General Nana Obuade Boateng Bunsu. And Nana Obuade, thank you so much for joining us this morning. He's the president, Concerned Farmers Association of Ghana. From the video we just saw, it invokes a lot of emotions. This man is outrightly lashing a cocoa tree to express his disappointment in the producer price of cocoa. Let's start with a general overview of how things have evolved from the time the announcement was made to this point this morning. But before then, I understand we have our lead data and researcher with us with some data to actually paint the picture before we come to Nana Obuade. Isaac Kofi-Ejay, take us away. Isaac Kofi-Ejay is our lead data analyst and researcher here at Joy News, and he's put together some presentation that paints the picture of exactly where we are where we started from and perhaps explain the reason why the farmers are agitated. And Isaac Kofi joins us via Zoom now. Kofi, so what does the data say?
Sweetie, I think it's a cocktail of feelings, especially from government, and then also what farmers are also saying. In terms of the numbers, we all know cocoa prices have been increased by some 4.1%. But this year, in terms of the announcement, there was something we saw that was a bit unique, where government decided to announce the price of cocoa first in dollars before, telling farmers how much they were going to get per bag in cedis. And it's to put across that the finance minister, Ato Forson, just about 2 weeks ago when he read the media budget, was very emphatic, saying that, quotations in dollars are not allowed. And so he was urging businesses and private entities to start quoting prices in dollars. But it was interesting that he, when announcing the new producer price of cocoa, decided to announce in dollar terms before converting it into cedis. And in fact, if you do the math, farmers are not really getting much, and that's why possibly you are seeing the outrage and farmers not happy with the current adjustment, because what we understand is that the least they were expecting was about 4,000 Ghana cedis per bag. Currently, they get 3,100 Ghana cedis per every 64 kg bag that they sell. But the new price means that they will get an additional 128 Ghana cedis to that price, sending it to 3,228. The expectation was that, looking at the current global price and all of that, farmers were expecting a bigger magnitude in terms of the increment. But government's argument is that, we all know what is going on in the economy and the appreciation of the cedi. If you actually seasonalize that data, it will not be possible to actually do that. And so you see the producer prices have been announced increased by 62.58%, and the what goes to the farmer actually being increased by just 4.1%. And so farmers aren't happy with this kind of announcement, simply because of what they are seeing on the global market and the promise of President Mahama to give them 70% of the world market. 70% of the world market in terms of the price of cocoa. But what was announced, which the finance minister said they have kept their word, per our fact check, is false. Because if you look at the number on the screen right now, the current world market price around $7,601. The average in the last 6 months is hovering around $9,000. And so to give farmers $7,000, or to set the FOB price at $7,200 and say you're giving them 70%, it's a direct contrast to what the president promised in July of 2024, which he said he was going to give farmers 70% of the world market. If you could go back, to the first slide, it will show you, if you do the math, how that. Let's go forward in terms of the slide. If you do the math, you see how the world market, which was 7,600, the current one, and the average has been around 9,000. This slide, paints the picture. So you see the world price been around $7,601, which is the current price. 70% of that would have been 5,320 Ghana cedis, instead of what the finance minister mentioned. What he announced was 70% of the FOB price and not the world market price. And so we all know what is actually going on. And the argument is that, look, it's simply because of the exchange rate situation, where last year we had to work with an exchange rate of 16 cedis to the dollar. And possibly that's why you saw huge increment in the last 2 seasons. But this time around, if you look at the data, what you see is that farmers are not going to see that stratospheric rise in the price of cocoa, where this time around it's been a bit stable. Looking at it on the, if you look at the chart that's on your screens right now, if you actually go ahead to do the rate of increase in the last 10 seasons, you will know that this is one of the lowest we've ever seen, where in the last 2 seasons, we've had prices going up as high as more than 1,900 Ghana cedis per bag. And so it's simply because of the exchange rate situation, that's why farmers could not enjoy the kind of increment they were expecting. But on top of that, government is aware that, well, the 128 Ghana cedis we are giving you in addition may not be adequate or significant. So what we are doing is that the IMF program, which possibly, precluded government from going ahead to do free fertilizers and all of that, we are going to introduce that as a form of incentives. Yeah. But farmers are saying, well, we all know how you share the fertilizers. We all know how those who do not belong to a certain political color may not be considered and all of that. So give us our money. Let's buy our fertilizers ourselves. And then what is due as the at least 4,000 Ghana cedis that they were expecting, they will possibly go ahead. And so you see on your screens that the average price of cocoa in the last 6 months has been $8,786, dollars per ton. And farmers were expecting 70% of this. But the press release that was put out, the finance minister decided to use the FOB price and not the world market price. So it simply means that if we had used the world market, which the president had promised, farmers would have enjoyed a bigger increase in terms of what was announced. And if you see the price of cocoa, although it is dropping, it is still very, very high. And the question is, how did government also arrive at the FOB price? Because you have world market average being more than close about $9,000 per bag. You also have, the exchange rate situation and all of that. So how did government arrive at an FOB price of 7,200, which is relatively lower than the current cocoa price, the world market price, and the average in the last 6 months? Right. And if you are seeing an increase in cocoa export revenue, it's not because we are exporting more of the beans, but it's simply because of the high prices. And the high prices means that if you export the same amount of cocoa maybe you did last year, you still get more because the prices are relatively higher. And because this year we are not doing more of the forward sales agreement, we are doing a mix where we are selling on the spot market and then also selling some of the cocoa beans in advance. And so this is what we know in terms of the data where, what was announced by the finance minister is not 70% of the world market as promised by the president, but rather 70% of the FOB price, which is relatively lower than the world market. And that's why farmers are currently not happy with the current announcement that the finance minister put out.
So Kofi, what's on the screen now? That's gone. The $8,000 is the world market price averagely per ton, right?
Yes, the average in the last 6 months, right? And so if you are going to set an FOB price, farmers would have expected an FOB price of, let's say, 7,600 and not the 7,200 that government said. If you set a lower FOB price, farmers will get a lower increase, right? And so if we were supposed to consider the increment in the last 6 months and the current price, farmers were expecting a higher FOB price. And even if you are giving them 70% of that, it would have been better than possibly setting an FOB price of 7,200. And they were expecting at least 7,600 in terms of the FOB prices. So the difference is about $400, which is huge when we convert in cedis.
There is our lead data and research analyst, Isaac Kofi. Isaac Kofi, thank you so much for joining us this morning. And that brings us back into the studio to continue the conversation. Like I mentioned, we have Farmer General Nana Obuadie Boateng Buntu. He's the president of the Concerned Farmers Association of Ghana. Nana, Isaac Kofi has painted the picture for us. And something he said that also stayed with me is that it appears this conversation we're having right now is because of the exchange rate. But like I asked you in the morning, the beginning of the conversation, I want you to expatiate on how things have evolved from the day you heard this announcement to through the reactions of your people till now that we're about to have this conversation. What's on your mind?
Yeah, well, thank you very much. And then good morning to your viewers and then to all the concerned farmers across the country especially the cocoa farmers in the Sechio, so Adabo Chrome, and then all the farmers across the country. It was a shock when I heard the news, though I wasn't all that surprised because I know that the dollar rate is coming down and then it's coming down, and then Ato has forced too much in a way that it has made our cocoa price, and then it has made we the farmers been suffering, you know. And the problem now is a dialogue between the farmers and Cocoa Board. Before you come out with the price and then you know the exchange rate, how the dollar now has depreciated or is down, what do? You go back to the people and then talk to them, engage them. If you can't do that, that is why the concerned farmers, we are there. We have been advocating for cocoa farmers for the past 25 years. We have been doing this for so many years. We know the farmers, they know us, and they do listen to us.
Do I hear you say you were not consulted? There was no engagement between the farmers?
No. If the Cocoa Board do have their people that maybe they will be calling them, but the people that will consult them, they are not the people that the farmers listen to, or they don't even go to the grassroots for the farmers to know that this is the situation. It's like a member of parliament. You can't just wake up and go to parliament and tell the speaker that this is what your constituency want.
Yeah, without
asking your assembly members and other things within your electoral area. The same thing applies to the farmers. We have chief farmers across all the district, the 72 cocoa district. So when you represent farmers on the board, and then there's issue, you have to come down and then let the people understand. That is why we have this FBO. That is why we, the concerned farmers, we are there. So when we tell us, we will go through the grassroots and then let the people understand that this is the situation on the ground. This is what everybody is saying.
Concern, Dr. Randiabe explained that they have been on their farms and they bring pictures of
so I mean, Kojo was trying to say, Kojo, you have to fix your microphone. Kojo, you had a question about how Randy...
I don't doubt what Randy is doing. Randy is doing well by engaging these farmers and other things, right? But then, that is not the way to go. Getting 2 or 3 farmers, you've done nothing. you get my point. We have a way of meeting them. Randy is a new in the block. And Randy have to know, you see, there are a lot of tricks and a lot of tactics within the Cocoa Board. And if care is not taken, Uncle Randy, so why really there? Because we are on the field and we know what is happening. So if you don't deal with the FBOs and you try to go directly with the farmers like that, there'll be a problem. Because at the end of the day, you can still deal with the FBO.
There's a bit more I want us to talk about this. We'll come to now on this particular bit, you know, about the engagement sort of, because Randy says they engage with the farmers on the farms, and we saw visuals of that. Nana Boade is saying that you need to engage more like the CSOs that have regular interactions with the farmers, you know, to help you out on that. I want us to explore it more on that.
And I mean, Kojo, what I'm hearing is we are here right now because they didn't give the farmers a chance to actually get this information firsthand before making it a public thing. You know, if they were to be informed that based on our calculations, based on how the CD is appreciating, and based on all the calculations, I mean, the mathematics of it, this is what we've arrived at, and then called perhaps the concerned farmers, called all the stakeholders who are actually on ground to engage them. Perhaps the reaction we are seeing, a man lashing his cocoa tree just to register his displeasure, would not be something that we are seeing. So maybe the question
is,
why?
I mean, and again, which farmers, because we saw videos or pictures, which farmers were those? Because if a farmer is lashing the cocoa tree, then of course, he dislikes what has been done. We're being told that they engage farmers. So who are part of these farmers that they met? Well, you're making a point.
Yeah. You see, so what I'm saying is those representing the farmers on the board are people that we, the farmers ourselves, we don't even know them. Because Kokoshi has failed that long time. Kokoshi doesn't exist. So if still Cocoa Board is working with Kokoshi and other things, they have to go back to their records. Or ask the Nakofa people. They would let you know that at the end of the day, there was a court issue and then they cleared them out. So at
They clear
the
them out
moment,
from where? From the board?
they don't exist again. Not that
Okay.
they clear them from the board. They don't exist again. We see this
Don't they
people...
As
own
an
cocoa-
organization,
Don't they
Indian-
own cocoa farms?
Chief, if you own a cocoa farm, it doesn't make you a cocoa farmer.
Hey.
Yes.
How?
You can own a cocoa farm. You are here. All right. Right? You can own a farm at, how do you call it, a Jabuso, or let's say, Adabokro, or Pillar 34. Right? Though you can call yourself being a farmer, but then you don't know what is within or what it takes to be a farmer.
But
Or what is happening.
But who is the cocoa for? Who's the cocoa farm for?
You can own a farm for yourself. You are a farm owner.
Yes.
But you are not a farmer.
So the decisions about cocoa affect me.
It affects you.
Because
But
I pay the farmers. I
fine,
pay
but
the
then
my
if when
workers.
they put you on board, on cocoa board right now, for you to be a farmer representative, and there's a decision about this pricing and other things, the kind of input that you make will affect the farmers. All because you are not on the field. You don't know what the farmers go through. That is the challenge now. Because those that they are representing the board, you know, when Boy Hinudu was there, Boy Hinudu called all the FVOs, and then we met in Kumasi about the new price that they want to come out with. And then they told us how everything will go, how farmers, the cocoa is being kept for some time, and then they release it and other things. The chief farmer who represents farmers on cocoa board raised his hand to ask a question, and then he told Boy Hinudu that, Chief, Sankebeya, you hear touch. A whole chief farmer was saying that he needed a torch. Farmers need torchlight. There's a flashlight. And that is not what we need. So people were so angry about what he said. And the same thing that is happening, because when you have such people representing farmers on the board, how can we prosper? How can the farmers go forward? And how can you know the problem that the farmers are facing? And that is what is happening. Because we, each and every day, we are on the field. If it is not about today's program, like I'm supposed to be at Adabokro, just to meet some of the farmers. From there, I have to go to Samaboy, because Monday, they are moving with buses to Accra to stage a demonstration. And the video that you saw is just a tip of an iceberg. There was videos that were cutting down their cocoa trees and other things just to destroy it. And the farmers, they can do that all because Cocoa Board don't care about the tree. I've been saying this every day, and I've said this several times here, and not even Parliament. Parliament don't even care about our cocoa tree. Because if Parliament do care seriously and know that cocoa is the backbone of our economy, I don't think Parliament will be sitting down and then watching these galamseys and other things just to cut down cocoa trees.
But Parliament has done what it could.
They've not done anything.
Mentioned it,
They've not done anything.
Referred you to his input in Parliament even in 2023 on this galamsey thing in relation to cocoa. But the point is, you said they are going to stage a demonstration on Monday?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
At where?
They said they are coming to Cocoa House.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a whole lot of issues that we have to go talk to some of them because they are coming in and out self. We don't even know how it's going to happen. And then when you touch a cocoa farmer, you touch the world.
What is the ask? What is the demand? This demonstration?
The whole thing is, we are the grassroots people and we know their call. Their demand, what they are saying is the pricing is not good for them. And I have engaged some of them on phones and other things because I have not been able to meet them one-on-one, but on a phone and then this PH system on their information centers to talk to them about how the system is. But yes, still, we need to get to them and talk. Now, government have done well by adding all these kind of fertilizers and then pesticides and other. It is a very nice idea. It is good. But that is not what the farmers want. Because at the end of the day, the farmers don't get that input. Cocoa Board have all these things, very nice package. But the farmers themselves don't get it.
Who does it go to then?
Yes, those that they collect the things, it doesn't reach the farmers. Some get it, some don't also get it. I've been hearing people that they said, if you don't belong to NDC, you don't get it. It's not true. Just that there are some people within that they are doing all these things. So Cocoa Board have to sit down and do a strategy very well and know how he will engage farmers and then how he will be distributing things or how farmers will be getting some of these things. There's another incident about this scholarship and other things. For so many years that we've been farming and other things, we've not been able to get scholarship. The government of the day, led by John Dramani Mahama, said it's going to get scholarship and other things. But some of the farmers, can we trust the system? Though it is good and it is nice, it's going to happen. But at the end of the day, it will end up people manipulating the system. Because most of the things that they do, they don't involve with the farmers. That has been the challenge.
But when cocoa scholarship was there, how was it being done?
Cocoa scholarship was in the place. You can go do your do a whole documentary on cocoa scholarship and see the number of cocoa farmers that they got it.
Okay.
How can a lawyer who doesn't own a farm, his son, get benefit from this cocoa scholarship? You get it? And
So
all
how
these
much
stories
exactly-
about child labor and other things, so it is a scam, it is not true, it is fake. So don't believe all these stories.
So how much exactly would make you farmers happy?
Well, with our identification of community challenges and then engagement with some of the farmers, and then a lot of them, majority are calling for 4,000, at least, minimum 4,000. Because adding up all these pesticides, fertilizers, and other things to it, I think it will make sense to the farmers.
So you'd have loved that there will be an addition of 900 cities to the 3,100 to take it to 4,000 per bag.
Because, see, we have these weeding gangs that they have been weeding our cocoa farms for 2 solid years. This is making the farmers lazy, and it's making the farmers absentees, not to go to their farms. So the farmers are saying that, why don't you add up this money that we are giving to these weeding gangs to our bags? So at the end of the day, it will empower us to do their job. A lot of young people got into this thing through our interventions and our education that we give them. But at the end of the day, a lot of them are withdrawing backwards. There's a young cocoa farmer, an award winner, who cut down all his cocoa trees. I have the video. They get it. At Petroleum Valley, cut all his cocoa trees to plant rubber because the rubber is fetching more than the cocoa.
When did this happen?
That was 3 years ago.
Okay.
You see, and it is ongoing, and people are doing it. There are a lot of things that has been happening. At the moment, others are giving out their cocoa trees to these galamseys and other things. I made mention of Parliament, and you don't want me to go deep into Parliament. Please. Cocoa is the backbone of our economy. And without we, the farmers, there will be no this parliamentarians will not be there. We have people that they live in the cocoa growing area. Ask them, what are they doing? What is their input when this issue came? Everybody, all of them are thinking of themselves, but they're not thinking about the state. How the country will run, nobody is thinking about it. You can't do politics with this kind of our issue. This issue is not about politics. So politicians have to stay away from this. You get it? For we, the farmers, to deal with cocoa board, to make sure that what we need, we get it.
Yes.
Because the moment you bring politics, we will not get one single cocoa bean in this country.
Okay.
Because already the other people are playing politics with it, and the farmers get pissed off when they hear doing MPP, NDC kind of thing with it.
You said they should leave you, the farmers, to deal with cocoa board. Has there ever been a time in our history where you were not satisfied with the producer price or whatever the mathematics of it, and you actually, engaged cocoa board and they sort of increased the price for you? Has there ever been a time where a situation like that surfaced and you went to cocoa board and said, this just doesn't work for us, and they actually met you halfway or something?
Well, cocoa board has never met us in a way. What we do is we do more of advocacy because we stopped writing letters to most of the institutions because they don't reply letters. They find it very lazy to read. So at the end of the day, we will not spend time to write letters to institutions or even to give a call and other things. When you see it on the media and then you approach us, fine.
Has your advocacy yielded desired results?
A lot.
Okay.
Let's go back to the first answer. You said cocoa board has never met you before.
No.
But you mentioned a while ago that you met in Kumasi.
No, it was if I say cocoa board has engaged, he was talking about engaging about us in one-on-one engaging with this kind of, but it was a whole of all the FBOs that they called.
Yes,
I wasn't invited.
Her question was...
I wasn't invited, but I went.
The question is not about you.
Yes.
The question is about cocoa farmers. Has there ever been a time when you were not happy with pricing and farmers met with cocoa board to express your displeasure?
No, that one.
They listened?
No, that one. I don't know. I have no idea about it.
Okay.
Yes.
So, if you don't know and it's never happened before, now we're assuming it's never happened before.
Yeah.
What is the guarantee that this demonstration or your current avenues of registering displeasure would actually yield some results? You want at least 4,000 Ghana cedis.
Well, it is not we that we are calling for demonstration. It is the farmers that
want to demonstrate.
Okay. And we've been an advocacy group for them, and then we know their challenges and other things, are trying our best to engage them in a way that the government will do what? Will listen to us. I'm a cocoa farmer myself. I'll be happy if the cocoa price even go up to 100,000 Ghana cedis, because all of us are working for a living. Because at the end of the day, the workers at cocoa board, they are earning more than we, the farmers that we are on the field, even doing our jobs.
Right.
You see, it's like we are feeding people for them to grow, and then we are growing late. That is the whole thing. But what?
So you're in your engagements with these cocoa farmers who are threatening to go on this demonstration, are you asking them to calm their tempers and hold on while you advocate for a better price for them? Is that a subject of your engagement?
That is what I'm trying to do. Because if we don't go that way, it will tarnish the image of the country. That is one. Our cocoa will not be bought again. Already there's red flag on our cocoa that if care is not taken, our cocoa will not be bought globally. All because we are doing deforestation, we are doing galamsey, and all these things is affecting the cocoa.
Right.
So we are trying our best in a way. But then we are not seeing any effort from Cocoa Board. But we will still do that, all because cocoa is Ghana and Ghana is cocoa.
On that point, let's invite our audience to join us. 0302-211-691 is the number to call. Let's hear what you have to say about this matter. And if you have any questions, nobody is right here in the studio to answer those questions for you. So callers, we want to hear your thoughts on this matter. It's a national issue. Everyone has to say. So let's hear your thoughts as well. Nobody. So, as we speak, you have also said that you understand that it's the interest rate, or the exchange rate rather, that's caused this problem. So you actually see the wisdom in the upward adjustment in terms of the dollar value. It's just that when it comes into the cedi equivalent, that's where you have a problem. So would you say that what we are seeing right now, you guys, you cocoa farmers, are just a victim of circumstance? Or you just think that if the government wanted to do better, they could have done better?
It is two ways. Government can do better because government is already doing better by giving out this kind of incentives, scholarship, giving out these agrochemicals and other things. And we are telling him that we thank him so much. Add all this money to us. Don't give out these things for free. Ivorians are not doing the things for free. They get it. And they are doing well, better than us. You are giving things for free. I don't know whether even state is there. Every year, 7 million seedlings is being produced for cocoa farmers. And let us ask, how many years will a government stay in power? 4 years. 7 times 4 is how much? How many? 7 million times 7 or times 4. And then cocoa is 3 years, or let's say 4 years to mature. So why is it that our cocoa keep on declining? We have done the studies and we know the loopholes and what is happening. And none of them is approaching us. I remember when Dr. Friakoto was there. We did a report and then we sent it to Dr. Friakoto. Within 30 seconds,
actually,
30
Nana,
minutes.
I'm interested in this story, but I want us to pick our first caller so we don't hold the line for too long. We have Hamza from Ashaiman. Hamza, let's hear you out.
Good morning, sweetie. Good morning, Bojo, and good morning, Nana Bonsu. Thank you for the good work you are doing, Nana Bonsu, especially. Yesterday, I watched you on PMS Press, and I learned you were saying Ato Forson has forced on the dollars too much. I think it was positive. It was positive, right? Yes. If we look at the pricing of cocoa this season, let's look at something from 2017-18. Nana, please, if I'm wrong, I think cocoa prices were not increased. Yeah. If my memory serves me right.
That's factual. Yeah.
Nana Bonsu.
Yes, he's responding.
There was no increase in cocoa price.
You are right.
Yes, and so government of 6 months, at least, I will ask the cocoa farmers, they deserve better. Their agitations are legitimate, but I would like to beg that we slow down for the government. This is the 6 to 7, 8 months, 128 point something increase. Let's give them from next year when they are fully settled. Then, if this increment, we don't get a 70+% of how we were promised, then we will go hard on the government. But again, I will thank Nana for the good work they are doing for cocoa farmers, and I will also ask the cocoa farmers not to listen to these people that stayed in power for 8 years. 2 years, they didn't increase cocoa prices. Please.
But it's the same thing that I.
These people have no moral right to speak about government.
Okay, great. That is fine. Yeah, we need to pick another person here. The numbers to call are on the screen. You can call so that you join us here on this discussion. Nana, you're making a point.
Yeah.
When we went off. Yeah.
We're going to tell a story in connection with whether or not if the government wanted to do better, they could do better. And then you are the ones on the ground saying you understand the loopholes. And there was a story coming. I don't know where it was going.
Yeah, and you see, the calls keep coming and I'm getting a little
confused.
bit...
It's okay.
The whole, I will just react to what Hamza is saying. We have no problem with the government. You know, we all know how the system is. And then we are saying that now that the dollar is what? Is down. When it goes up, are we going to get our price up or it will still be like that? Because it is a trade. All of us are doing trade. So are we going to get it up or it's going to come down? That is what we are all calling for. Because at the end of the day, when you watch the interventions and other things that the government has put in place, it has done well. But we are saying that all these things that you are giving us, some of the people will not let the thing get with the farmers. So add this and as money for our cocoa. If it is 200 cedis, just add up to it. We will buy our own cocoa, buy our own pesticides and use it for, because it's business. I'm not doing it for you. I'm doing it for myself.
But just like you're saying, the fertilizer doesn't actually get to you, the cocoa farmers. How can you guarantee that if they add the value to the money for you, you'd actually buy the pesticides and stuff?
My sister, we are not doing the farming for government. We are doing it for ourselves. Just that government have the monopoly to sell it. You know. So what we are saying is, do you know the number of young guys that they want to get into this? We have even a strategic plan for bringing this university student, the national service student, for them to do the artificial pollination.
Okay, now hold on the artificial pollination. Let's bring in Aaron, who has joined us. Aaron, good morning. Hello, Aaron.
The gentleman speaking over there, I want to ask him. You see, sometimes they have to consider the rules that the government is going to construct. When all money, all their things, in every the 40% that they are calling, the 4,000 that they are calling, if it is doing them, these same people, they will complain that they don't have good roads. So they have to consider this is the first time 2 years cocoa has been price. So they have to manage this and then expect the government for the best for next year.
But if the government is getting more, why do you think farmers don't have the right to demand for more?
Yes.
Now I'm asking that you say they should manage. And I'm asking you that
this one.
If government is getting more, why should the farmers not get more?
Yes, please.
Okay, I guess
thank you, Aaron, for calling. I think we confused him there. You were saying that you are now trying to recruit students, university students, to do artificial pollination.
With our, it's a strategic plan that we've laid down that we want to give it to Cocoa Board, that all these national service students have to train. We have to train them. You know, we call it double up cocoa, because this year our target is to get, next year our target is to get almost 2 million tons of cocoa, and we can do that if only Cocoa Board is ready for us, because it's double up, it's artificial pollination that we are going to do. We are using this national service student to do that. We will train them and then for them to do that. This will
is that the hand pollination?
The hand pollination.
Cocoa Board introduced.
Yes, you know, because let's say you are the student and you are doing an acre of pollination for a farmer, and we are going to get like 5 bags, or let's say 3 bags. The money that we are going to get, it will encourage you also for you to have a love.
Oh, so the plan is that when the person does the pollination, you give 3 bags out of the yield to the person who did the pollination.
Exactly. Oh, you get it. So this is going to encourage the young people for them to also, now this is, we call it replacement, because now the cocoa farmers are aged. When you watch the guy that was doing the thing, he's aged. I mean, we don't need such people again within the industry. Not that we don't need, they will be there, but they will be fading each and day out, you know. But how can we do this? Okay. Is Cocoa Board ready to receive this package that we are bringing on board?
I really think Cocoa Board should engage you. And
let's bring in Ganiu, yes.
Ganiu, thank you for calling. So what's on your mind? What's your issue?
Good morning to you and good morning to your viewers. And good morning to your panel. I listened to him very carefully. I think, you see, our leaders in politics, sometimes we should be principled. principle is very good in politics. In opposition, you promise the people of the cocoa farmers that if they give you their mandate and you get the presidency, you let you them 1,000 tons per bag of cocoa. Today, you are there as president. You are there as Minister of Finance. You are there as Minister of Agri. Give the cocoa farmers the 6,000 Ghana, no more excuse. Why? Why are we going to disappoint these people? They were taking 3,100 Ghana cedi. You told the good people of this country that MPP and Akufo is cheating the cocoa farmers. Today, they gave you their mandate. Give them the 6,000. You say, hey, dollar, what and what? You were not talking about dollar. You were not talking about anything. You were telling MPP and Nana Akufo that cocoa price should go to 6,000. Today, you are in government. Ato Forson even told us on his patent that even they are in power. He is a finance minister today. After betting, cocoa price will still go like they were saying in opposition. So I don't know why NDC people will now come and say that this price was, dollar was doing what and what. It's not about dollar. You are not paying cocoa bag dollars for the farmers.
All right.
Giving them cedi. So
thank you, Ganyu. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
All
we
right.
shouldn't be misleading the public like that.
Okay. Ganyu there also sharing his views on the matter. He's saying that they should give you the 6,000 because that is the amount that was promised to you.
Well,
whether or not the exchange rate
that one was, I think, Eric Opoku and then Ato Forson made that, but they don't make a decision when it comes to the pricing. So that one, well, it's something that when it comes, all of us will be happy with it.
They play a role because the cocoa board is under the finance ministry.
Yes.
For example.
I know. He played a role, but then...
And of course, the person who did the announcement was a finance minister.
Yes. He said that we should get that kind of money, right? But looking now, with how the dollar now is getting to, if the dollar was supposed to stay, the whole problem is Ato Forson. I've been saying it. He has forced too much in a way that we, the farmers,
The caller asked, you mean that in a negative way or a positive way?
Well, it's in a two-way. It's in a two-way. In other way, it is Ghana is, our economy has been booming in a way. At the same time, it is affecting with the farmers also. Because the pricing that we are supposed to get, that is not what we are getting.
But on that score, the world price of cocoa is not looking at how the cedi is behaving against the dollar in Ghana.
No.
The world price of cocoa is shooting up, right? So why should the gains of the cedi be a factor? Yeah, I'm trying to understand how that should be part of the factor, because if the world price is going up, we're not necessarily looking at the gains of the cedi in Ghana. Why should farmers be told that because cedi has strengthened, we can't give you more?
Yeah, because
now you need less CDs.
No,
because you see,
I'm asking
the
why
dollar,
should that be
they trade in dollar.
Yes,
and they buy the cocoa in cedis because you can't. We are Ghanaians, and our currency is cedis.
Yes,
you can't be trading dollar with us. They get it. So at the end of the day, they will go in for the dollar.
Yes.
For the dollar market, get it, and then convert that one
into cedi.
Do their calculation into cedi for us.
Yes.
That is it.
Yes, and I'm saying that if the world market price, according to Kofi, is above $8,000, that's what they are getting. Why must it be a factor to say that because the cedi has strengthened, we are giving you $5,040 out of over $8,000 that they are getting? I want to understand why that should be a factor. Because if the cedi is strengthening, that should inure to the benefits of the farmer, not the government that says that I am getting more, but because I've done well for the cedi to strengthen, I'm giving you less. I don't know if you get my argument.
Not quite, but
over $8,600, right?
Yes.
According to Kofi's analysis, that's what they're getting from the world market price. They're giving farmers $5,040, and the reason is that the cedi has strengthened. And I'm saying, so if the cedi goes bad, would they jump it to say that the cedi has gone back, so we're jumping it?
Well, that's how it is, because if at first $7,000 will give you maybe 20,000 Ghana cedis thereabouts.
Anyway,
Now it will give you less cedis.
I hope we have COVID to help us out.
Yeah. Let's usher in Al Hassan. Is it Al Hassan? Al Hassan, good morning. You're live on the AM show. What's on your mind?
Yes, what I want to discuss is it's like Ghanaians, excuse me to say, we are somehow ignorant about the whole thing that is happening. Okay, let me make it a knowledge. If I'm a farmer doing the previous, let's say, doing the time, and a bag of gold, 10,000 white, let's say I need to buy something.
Al-Hassan, I don't know if it's just a bad connection or if you can reposition, because we're losing a huge chunk of what you're saying. Let's try again.
Please don't listen to the television, listen to the phone. So we can have a...
I don't know if you can hear me now.
Yes, loud and clear, go.
Okay, we are talking about value for money here. So, for instance, if I'm a cocoa farmer doing the previous administration, and I need to buy something like, maybe I need to buy a vehicle for my board or something, how many bags of cocoa, let's say the vehicle is $1,000, how many cocoa bags do I sell before I can buy that? You understand? For the gap, it's exact 50%.
No. But you're making a good point, but we are not getting you because the line keeps breaking.
I think to accept. And even dollar changing and all that, it is still up. It is still now 3,000. So there's other. It's just that you have to appreciate the gap. And you need all this. It is simple knowledge.
Unfortunately, the line keeps, breaking. Forgive us. But I think I heard him say we need to appreciate the government. As for that, I heard it. Okay. So he says that we need to appreciate the government for what they've done well.
You see, nobody said the government hasn't done well. Every government that comes, in a way, try to help cocoa farmers because they know that cocoa is the backbone of our economy. And when they joke with it, the country collapses. But now, with the situation on the ground, what we are calling is, John Dramani Mahama, His Excellency, if you are watching, please, our farmers are telling you that all these incentives and other things that he said you are giving them, he said add all this thing up. The fertilizers, whatever, add it up. We are going to have, from here, I think I have to be in the Western region, we will meet and then discuss, and then all of us will come into a conclusion. If it is being accepted, and then we just put it across so that you will just do that for us. Because at the end of the day, what is happening backstage, it is very dangerous. If cocoa farmers, even one farmer, cut 1 acre tree down, it will affect us. Because at the end of the day, we don't even produce enough. What Cocoa Board is expecting now is 40,000 tons. And even the 40,000 tons, they are struggling. And then now, this increment and other things is in it. And there's a lot of controversy and other things.
You're saying what they need is 40,000 tons?
40,000 tons, yes.
Okay, that translates into how many bags?
Because a ton is 15, so you go with 15
times 40,000.
40,000. So this is what is happening on the ground, and it is very sad. But maybe Cocoa Board are not seeing it. My brother Randiabe is new in the block, and then I think we are very sorry that welcoming you, it has become how come with this kind of situation, and we will deal with it, and then they are our farmers. And we will talk to them. We want to bring the tension down. And then this demonstration that they said they want to do, that is what we have to look at because it is very, very dangerous. And these people that they say they want to do it, they will, because this thing has eaten them.
While I understand, and in fact, I appreciate the wisdom behind saying convert the support you're giving us into money, would that be fair to this government? Because while the money you are getting right now is as a result of the produce you've given the government, it's an exchange, it's transaction. You're buying your cocoa from you, and so this is the amount of money you get. However, the support is coming, it's not government, you haven't done anything to earn that. That is government's way of cushioning you so that the exchange rate impact is not felt that much. So for example, they said 6,000, you're not getting 6,000, so they're giving you free fertilizer, free pesticides, and the rest. If you're asking them to make that, turn that into money, you're inadvertently saying that they should pay you more than the value of your cocoa now.
Oh, no, I don't think so. Because
they should give you all that money.
Yeah, let's say you are giving me how many bags? Let's say every farmer is getting like 20 bags. How much is a bag of the fertilizer? If it is 1,000 cedis or let's say 200 cedis for the whole 10 bags,
they should just give you the money.
Add the money. If the pesticide is like this, add the money. Because if you don't do it like that, it will be diverted. We all know. And we are so surprised that cocoa farmers, our fertilizers and our pesticides do be smuggling to a different sector like Ivory Coast and other countries.
By your own people.
We don't do it. Is not we.
I follow the story in Aboso, where some of the farmers who were given the fertilizer to supply to you were hoarding and selling at exorbitant prices and even smuggling. Same
Are
people
they farmers?
Some of them own farmers.
Yeah,
own farms.
Yeah, they are not farmers.
No, I said they own farms. So they are farmers.
No. You see, that is the big.
All right, gentlemen.
Anyway,
yeah, thank you. I'm sorry. That's all that time allows us for. So that there is Farmer General Nana Obuadie Bonsu. He's the president of Concerned Cocoa Farmers Association. Thank you so much for coming.
You're welcome.
And
it is Concerned Farmers Association of Ghana.
Concerned Farmers Association of Ghana. Nana Obuadie, thank you. So before we pop off, a gentle reminder to make your dream home a reality with EcoBank. Step into your ideal home or transform your current space into one that truly reflects your style and comfort, all with the support from EcoBank. EcoBank has once again partnered with Joy News to bring you an exciting experience at the Joy News EcoBank Habitat Fair. Now, this year's edition makes your journey to a comfortable, modern home even more accessible and affordable. With EcoBank's Buy Now, Pay Later, you can easily renovate, upgrade, or furnish your home to suit your taste and lifestyle. Whether it's elegant home decor, modern furniture, essential electronics like laptops, or solar energy solutions, EcoBank has the right financing tailored to your lifestyle. From staying connected with the latest devices to embracing sustainable living, our flexible consumer loans, asset finance, and salary advance products are all designed to help you to bring your vision to life. Enjoy competitive interest rates, convenient repayment terms, and fast approval from a bank that understands your needs. Visit our stand and take the first step towards the home and lifestyle you deserve. Comfortable home starts with EcoBank. Be a part of it. EcoBank, the Pan-African bank.
And are you looking to do things differently to level up your skills and get ahead in this challenging job market? You heard Obuadie talk about what they're doing to bring in more youth to, cocoa farms because, look, jobs are hard to come by. Statistics do show that it's tough out here for university graduates with only a few landing jobs immediately after school. So doing things differently is what you must do, and that's what the Design and Technology Institute, DTI, is all about. DTI offers programs ranging from precision at welding and fabrication to design innovation, including graphic design, sound engineering, animation, photography, amongst others, as well as entrepreneurship. Now, their programs are internationally recognized by the American Welding Society, Pearson, BTech, and CityVet, so you can shine here in Ghana or anywhere in the world. So if you're ready to do things differently and chart your own path, then check out DTI. Visit dtiafrica.com/admissions or call 0541693534, 0541693534 for more information.
And before we go, I just have a dedication from Sewa Ampemdako in the United Kingdom. She says, happy birthday to my lovely twin brothers in Canada. I wish you Godspeed and more blessings as you mark the milestone today. On behalf of the entire family, we say we love you. Thanks for always being there for me. You guys are the best brothers in the world. Happy birthday once again to Ampemdako Senior and Junior. And this is coming from Sewa Ampemdako in the UK. Thank you all so much for joining. Kojo has a dedication, Kojo?
No, I don't.
Okay, so let's take a quick break then. When we return, we have more conversations for you on the AM show. We'll be right back.
All right, welcome back to the AM show, and we want to take a look at Trump administration's integrity fees and visa bonds that could see you lodge between $5,000 and $15,000 US at the Department of State to secure your return from US. we assess the impact on how countries may be affected. And, you know, we're learning that you would have to lodge all of these amounts to ensure that you come back. But remember that this show is sponsored by Syntex Tank. Syntex Tank, tough, strong. Okay, let's bring in Nana Yao Miraku, a freshly minted PhD holder. And the name is Dr. Nana Yao Miraku. That's a beautiful picture there. And you know what? Nana was my year mate at the University of Cape Coast. So Nana is a PhD holder now. The question is, Kojo, what are you doing? Okay, I'll tap from Nana because he was my mate. So Nana is Dr. Nana Yao Miraku, an international relations analyst. So I can also say I am Dr. Samuel Kojo. Oh, I can't do that.
Let's pray the tech doesn't come for you.
Anyway, please, I'm not a doctor. I am Samuel Kojo, but he is Dr. Nana Yao Miraku. Doc, Charlie, congrats to you.
Thank you, bro.
You've done so well.
Thank you, sir.
I mean, we left school in 2012.
Right.
From 2012 to 2025, that's 13 years.
Right.
And you've gone through masters, you've gone through a PhD.
Right.
That's, Charlie, well done.
Thank you so much.
Because after I did masters, I have not progressed.
Well, I think
yours is a challenge now for me to catch your level.
Right.
But well done.
Sure, thank you.
It's not easy for people to get PhD, especially in Ghana.
Right.
And you've made it. Super congrats to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
On behalf of the AM team, we say congrats.
Thank you.
Yeah?
Thank you.
Okay, now let's talk about...
Thank you for those nice words.
Say again?
Thank you for those pleasant words.
Oh,
Sure.
Okay, now let's talk about this whole thing by the Trump administration. What really, from where you sit, what do they want to do? Or what is informing this decision by the administration?
Well, good morning to your viewers and good morning to yourself. Thank you for having me. I think that I have always said that this is a social mandate. It's a social contract mandate that the Trump administration is seeking to implement.
Okay.
In fact, when Trump came to the Oval Office, he signed what you call protection of the American people from invasion. And this has been the fulcrum of his immigration policies, seeking to create a disincentive or discourage people wanting to settle as immigrants in the U.S. And so if you look at the whole architecture of his campaign promise, it was about getting immigrants out of the U.S. He started with cracking down on people with criminal backgrounds. But that is not giving him the kind of numbers he wants to show to the American people that he is doing what he promised he was going to do. So he moved from people with hardened, background, criminal backgrounds, to the U.S.-Mexican border, wanting to cut down on immigrants. And then when that was not yielding the numbers he wanted, he then switched to student visa, applicant. Yeah. And you saw the whole hula balloon that came out of it. And then from there, he moved to what you call country-specific visa arrangement, where some countries, 19 of them, have been issued travel bans, some partial, some full, to the extent that Ghana has been affected, reducing this visa reciprocity arrangements from 5 years to 3 months single entry. And then on top of that, the Trump administration has implemented what they call the big beautiful bill that Donald Trump made so much noise about, if you want to put it that way. And it was a number of issues that came up before it was accepted in Congress. One of them was immigration. There was health, there was taxes, amongst any other thing. But what you are interested in the immigration part. So the Judicial Review Committee in Congress came up with this idea that, look, you are so much interested in illegal immigrants as one of the routes, illegal migration as one of the routes that people settle in the U.S. But you need to look at a legal perspective, because that is also one of the ways by which people enter into the U.S. and then stick to the country without wanting to leave. So look at the legal means of coming to the U.S. and put a seal, try to regulate it. So one of the things that they came up with when the big, beautiful bill was accepted was what they call the visa integrity fee. So right now, for non-immigrant visas, F, J, and M, there is a visa integrity fee that when you have been granted a visa and you've passed your interview, you have to pay an amount of $250. That was for the non-immigrant visas, like I said, J, M, and F, including student. But what has been implemented now, they call it the temporary final rule, which is also an arrangement of the Department of State, is that now there's what they call the visa bond. Now this is the new catch.
Okay.
The visa bond is that once you've been granted a visa and you have paid a visa integrity fee, you now have to pay an amount. It's a graduated amount from $5,000 to $15,000.
So the visa integrity fee, which is $250,
it's different.
Is different from the bond.
Exactly.
So after you pay the integrity fee, $250, then you pay the bond.
Exactly, you pay the bond.
Okay.
It's a graduated amount, but it's also it's based on the discretionary powers of the visa consular officer. So, of course, if they by your document, if they see that you frequent the place and you obey their rules, you're probably not going to be fined at $5,000.
Okay.
But if you have somebody that has some history, or you're a first-time traveler, in my opinion, or you are not trustworthy, in quotes, that you return, then that amount between $5,000 to $15,000 will be slashed on you. The point is that, as of now, the policy was supposed to be implemented in 20th August. But we woke up yesterday and realized that 2 countries have already been slapped with this kind of bond, Malawi and Zambia. So for those 2 countries from today, when they are going to apply for, but I should also say that it's also for the B1, B2, that is the business and tourist visa category. That is what this bond affects.
Okay.
And so for Malawi, people from Malawi and people from Zambia, if they are going to the US on any of these visa category, whether B1 or B2, then they are compelled to pay this amount of money. And then when they have played by the rules of their visa terms or the status of their visa and they are returning, these monies could be given to them. So if you go there for these 2 countries, if you go there and you overstay your visa, if you go there and you return after the visa has expired, and then if you go there and then you attempt to adjust your status and seek for asylum, these monies won't be given to you. So there's a way. They are sealing, in psychologically and physically, they are discouraging people from wanting to come there.
Because if I leave $5,000 with the consular, the embassy here, I would want to come back and take it.
Exactly.
$5,000 is
it's a lot of money.
50,000 Ghana cedis.
It's a lot of money, and it's graduated, so they can decide whether it should be 10 or it should be 15.
Look at
and
that.
the idea is that they understand that a lot of people go on this legal route. They go through this legal route as tourists or as business people, and then when they get there, they adjust their status by seeking asylum. So once you go there and you want to adjust your status, what it means is that these monies will not be refunded to you. I think that eventually they'll begin to look at not only those that are seeking asylum, but those that even go there and wanting to change through green card and or maybe through marriage. So I'm thinking, this is how it starts. It starts as, I thought this was only going to be one of the means they were tackling immigration, but I hear they are even wanting to touch, and they started touching bit by bit, even the immigrant visa applications. So it is this whole idea that we must also begin to look at legal visa applications, not only through those that are coming through U.S.-Mexico border or those coming from the Southern American states, but through the legal perspective. And my fear is that now, as it stands now, Ghana is not part.
Okay.
Because
of all of these restrictions.
No, I mean for the visa bond. Okay. Ghana is not part.
What about the visa integrity fee?
That is applicable to everybody.
To everyone.
Everybody.
So if you're from Ghana and you're traveling to the US, you pay the visa integrity fee. Which, of course, I read that it's not clear whether it will be refunded or not.
Good.
But it's possible that it can be refunded.
As of now, and this is one of the things that I think, I believe that it will be a backlash to the US visa application system. Because already they have a backlog. They still have backlog from COVID. They have no clear ways as to how these monies will be collected. And there is no clear way as to how this money will be refunded when you play by the books. In fact, the Department of Homeland Security has said that if you look at the clause, the monies may be refunded.
Yes.
That is the visa integrity fee.
Yeah.
As for the visa bond, I suspect that because of how huge the money is, they are wanting to shy away from an implication of legal shakedown. They don't want to be seen as legally shaking down people for vulnerable people. And so these monies, have to be returned. But for now, Ghana is not part. It's only Malawi and then Zambia. I am hoping that the punishments, or not the punishment, the sanctions for these visa arrangements begins from those that are categorically banned, Chad, Sudan, and those that are facing partial ban. And then it comes down to those that are not facing partial ban, but the reciprocity arrangement has changed, including Ghana.
Yeah.
So it comes down from 5 years to 3 months single entry. I am suspecting that for these countries that Ghana is part, if we are able to put our house in order and we are able to pursue some high-level diplomacy, maybe because we have a 2 months window for that 3 months thing to really be effective or to be permanent. If we are able to put these things in order, we probably might not be on the route of these visa bond, because there are things that the U.S. government is seeking from these countries. One, There are so many countries with visa overstays. And the government is not issuing what they call travel document for them to deport them back. And international law, you can't send somebody to their country when they don't have what they call travel document. And that's why the US, to sidestep this, has implemented what they call third countries option. So if your country is not willing to accept you, the US can now transport you to another third country. It has happened to Eswatini.
Yeah.
Eswatini is taking in deported, criminals or deported migrants from the US. Yeah. So the point I'm making is that maybe if we're able to put our house in order and address some of the issues that the United States government is talking about in respect to Ghana's visa overstay, maybe there will be some way out.
How do we do that? We go after our student or what?
So one, and I like to put this dynamics in perspective. So far, the visa bond, Ghana is not part. It is Malawi and like I said, Zambia. It's a 12-month pilot project that they are seeking to implement. So let's say maybe by the 12 months, if they think it's not yielding enough dividends, they'll probably scrape it off. But it can degenerate to other visa categories. Right now, it's just the visa category. I mean, B1, B2. But if it moves to F1 and moves to J1, that means majority of our students that are seeking to acquire visa to the US will have to pay this safety amount. That is if Ghana is added to the list.
Okay.
It's a huge sum of money. And Ghanaian students are becoming, the visa overstays are becoming quite ubiquitous. It's in the face of the US. Because I give you these statistics. In the 2023 or 2024 fiscal year, 65,000 student applicants students applied to US for visas. From Ghana. Out of that, 25,000 visas were given out. According to the US State Department, if you go to check the number of students in US schools, out of that 25,000, only 9,000 of them are in the classroom studying. So the question is, what happened to the 11,000? So we don't want to begin to create these kind of problems so that the F visa category becomes a target. On the whole, the number of visa overstays of US is 7.50. The US has a threshold of 15%. So on the whole, we do well. But when it comes to the F category, which is the student, student applicant to the US embassy, that is where the problem comes up.
So the students go and they don't want to return.
Exactly, they don't want to return.
They use their school route to enter the US.
Exactly.
And then when they go, they kick
exactly.
out.
I mean, there are pros and cons. To a very large extent, the US benefit because the US is known as, for its soft power, it's a cultural melting pot. So you have beautiful minds from all over the world. I myself, I'm a beneficiary of the US educational system.
Okay.
So I was once at Yale. Now, the system is such that there's a lot of opportunities. And so it lures the best mind into the country. And these people have contributed significantly to the scientific development and in financial development in other spheres. And so it inures to the benefit of the US when these best beautiful minds are imported into their country. But it's politics. And they say
when you sign a contract with your people, you need to
have to, exactly. And I always say that the Trump administration is not very popular now. If you look at the polls to the government, it's not very popular. And the midterm election is staring in their faces next year, November. So he must really be seen as doing something, because there's a lot of things that is making the government unpopular. The Epstein files and other things with Russia and Israel. So this is one of the things so you see that there's one immigration card or the other that he pulls every now and then. Is either student, is either specific country bans, is either the Mexico, war.
And now Russia is also denying some allegations that the Trump administration is placing on them. I read somewhere that they are denying categorically over a certain allegation. I don't know if you followed that one too. So it looks like there's a spat between US
of course. I mean,
you need to have ways of covering your back.
Right. So these are a number of things that are taking effect as far as the immigration front is concerned. And these monies, like I said, will be given back to you when you obey the terms of condition attached to this visa, category. But I have been saying that we need to brace for impact because it doesn't come across as things are going to get in the next 4 years. Okay. It's a very long 4 years, And
this is just
7 months. Yeah, just 7 months of the administration, and we see the blowback. It is going to have dire implication for the business community within Ghana.
I was going to ask.
Of course.
But how?
So there are a number of ways you could look at this. That is if Ghana is added to the list.
Okay, now we have not been added.
And that is why I expect our Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, I believe in quiet diplomacy. Do underground work, but see the right people and deal with them. at this point, the Trump administration is behaving, the policies it's implementing is beyond US, it's beyond Ghana and US ambassador to Ghana. We need to engage in high-level diplomacy, right, with the State Department. And it should be quietly done. You know, you do it behind the scenes, but you show work and you put in pragmatic effort. We need to do the hard work. We need to lift the boots from the ground and see how we can make some arrangement or negotiation with the US government. We are already imposed a 3-month single entry visa. I think that something should be done quietly. And then address the very things that the US government wants us to address, if they are possible, so that, because this is just 12 months, a pilot program, eventually they are going to add some of the countries to the list. So how do we make sure that we are addressing the initial problem that made us to be put on that 3-month single entry, so that it does not degenerate into us being added to what? To that list. Okay. But come to your point, the implications. Look, there are significant number of businessmen who need to run to the US every now and then. The last time I was having a conversation with the Association of Ghana Industries, with their regional representative, and he was telling us how this is affecting them, because there are a number of them that are business partners in the US, and every now and then they have to shuffle in between. Yeah. And now that you've been issued a 3-month single entry, when you come back, you have to reapply if you stay beyond 3 months. The hurdle is the visa appointment times. Now, people that are applying for visas now in the US are getting dates in 2026 and 2027. Mm-hmm. So if you have to shuffle in between Ghana and US as a businessman, and then you have to go through this, it's a lot of inconvenience. The money is a problem, but I mean, if you're a lucrative business person, this might not be a problem. But for ordinary persons that are in some, short, mid-term businesses, anytime you have to apply for a visa, you pay $160. You pay a visa integrity fee and $250. As to whether you get a visa appointment time is a problem. And then also, if somebody has to stay for medical treatment, and it's such consequential that it has to be done in the US.
So I read that the $250 will be paid by those who've been issued a visa.
Exactly. So when you go for the interview and then you pass, and you know you are going to be issued a visa, they will send a link. Okay. At least I know that for the visa bond, they will send a link that you have to arrange. And I have to say that, like I said, this is part of US's approach to curbing, these immigrants through the legal way. I think 3 or 4 months ago, there was this guy called Sullivan. Sullivan had come from Egypt, right? I think in Boulder, Colorado. And then when there was an Israel protest, he went there and threw a makeshift fire or bomb, not a bomb, a makeshift fire, if you want to put it that way. And when the Judicial Review Committee in Congress was talking about how to look at sealing the legal route to immigrants, they used this as a case study. Okay. So Sullivan had come from Egypt on a B1, B2 visa. And when he came, he converted it to asylum seeking status. Okay. And this was somebody that was engaged in what by US standard was a terrorist act. So the US government used that as a case study and said, look, this is what is happening. So let us block all these legal avenues that people come and then they change their status into asylum seekers, or they get somebody to marry and then they acquire a green card. I'm thinking that eventually it's going to transcend into that areas. Not only those that are coming in, but those that are coming in and using the right ways like marriage, to acquire, their papers.
Green card and all of that.
Yeah. So I think that it's a long 4 years ahead of us.
Okay.
And we have to see what happens.
So as you say, silent diplomacy.
Silent diplomacy, quiet diplomacy, but high-level engagement.
Okay. All right. This one is coming from a lecturer on the University of Cape Coast campus, Dr. Jonathan Ochre. He says, I didn't know that he was a UCC product. My congratulations to him. Good morning. So
thank you.
The UCC community is celebrating one of their own for graduating from PhD studies. So that is Nanaya Miraku, PhD. He is a freshly minted PhD holder. Call him by the name Dr. Nanaya Miraku, an international relations analyst. Thank you so much for coming through.
Having me as always.
We'll wrap it up here. But remember, the AM show is sponsored by Syntex Tanks. Syntex Tank, strong, tough. Let me use this special occasion to wish a special person a happy birthday. We call him Uncle. Uncle in Shraba Park, Kwesi Simpson, is with Connect FM in Takrady. I mean, if those of you who know me by the name KB, if you call me KB, he was the one who gave me the name KB. So, in Shraba Park, Kwesi Simpson, happy birthday to you, Uncle. Nyanko Ponin Shrow on your say you are a good man, you're from the Mr. Western region. You represent a lot of voices in the Western region, and we are grateful to God for blessing you. May God continue to bless you and make you big, make you thick, and then ensure that all your heart desires, are realized. May He bless your secret prayers. Someone is accusing me of not doing something, but don't worry, I'll do something. I'll do that thing at the right time, yeah? Okay, so we'll take a break here. I'll be back. Sweetie Abochi will be here with more on the AM Show. Do stay.
Is it back? Of course it is. The Joy Sports Invitational Tournament is returning with lots of thrilling disciplines. Saturday, the 9th of August 2025 at the University of Ghana Stadium, Legon. Get ready for a day packed with thrilling corporate sports action. Time with sponsors. Ayuda App Limited is my number one in the studio this morning because they are general sponsors for the Joy Sports Invitational Tournament 2025. So who do I have in studio? I have from Ayuda App Limited, Hub Limited, Vanessa Ban-Williams. She is Customer Experience Executive, and Jessica Sare is a Social Media Manager. Ladies, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Jessica and Vanessa, I want you to introduce us to Ayuda App. Media, all I know is Ayuda App Bako. Services, baby. And I like it. I mean, during the first clinic at the Achimota Retail Center for the EcoBank Join This Habitat Fair, I got to interface with the app, and I know that it actually solves a lot of problems in the household.
Yes.
But you tell us, let me start with you, Jessica. Who is Ayuda, or what is Ayuda, and why should we pay attention to you?
Okay, so the Ayuda is basically a platform that connects customers to service providers. And when I talk of service providers, I'm talking of
all kinds of services that you need in your home.
If you need an electrician, you need a plumber, you need a carpenter, any kind of service at all that you need, you just download the app, and then you can have service providers who will come and provide,
fix all the
fix all your problems you have.
Okay.
Yes.
So if you need a plumber, if you need a laundry woman, if you need an electrician,
a handyman,
a cleaner,
name them.
Okay.
Yes.
So now I know. One-stop shop for everything.
For everything. All your
all
services. Yes.
And Vanessa, so first we experienced you on the EcoBank Join This Habitat Fair, and now you're sponsoring the Joy Sports Invitational. Why?
So basically, we are not just joining to just have fun and then just enjoy the sporting tournament, but basically to just build a strong network and a vibrant corporate community around our brand, to basically exercise, to keep the body fit, have fun, socialize.
How sporty are you?
Very sporty.
Can you speak on behalf of the whole team, the whole Ayuda Hub Limited? How sporty are you?
I don't want to talk much.
Hey.
We flew our CEO to Madrid to, go and practice for the penalty shootout. And
are you kidding?
The team is training with Benabao, so I don't want to talk much.
Wow, you've taken it personally.
Yes.
Okay, I like that. Would this be your first time coming aboard the Joy Sports Invitational?
Yes.
Okay, so what are your expectations, Jessica?
Okay, so we are expecting a pool of corporate bodies who will be present so that we can be able to socialize and connect as well. Yes.
I think that if you've spent money to go and train abroad and you are playing with Benabao or whoever, then connection should not be your first priority. No, you are there to win.
Yes, we are there to win, definitely. Our opponents should expect nothing but the best from us. Yes.
Okay. How does joining the Joy Sports Invitational fit into your overall vision and mission for Ayuda Hub? Vanessa?
Let me take that. So basically, it's just an opportunity for us to make our brand visible.
Okay.
We came out with this platform basically because we want our customers to be comfortable, sit in the comfort of their homes or offices, and request for services to be rendered for them, and then reduce all that stress from them. So basically, to make sure that our brand is visible and connect to the corporate bodies that would also be joining us during
the sports invitational. So, I mean, for those who are watching and they want to, onboard your app as service providers, how do they do that?
Okay, so downloading the Ayuda app and signing up as a service provider is totally free.
Okay.
Yes, it's free of charge. All you have to do is go to the Google Play Store or App Store, type in AYUDA, Ayuda, yes. And then when it pops up, you download the app, and also an interface will appear where there are 2 sign-ins, which is the customer or the service provider. So if you decide to be a service provider, you tap on the service provider button, and then we have a series of processes that you are allowed to go through, yes, which is the RTTV, which is the registration, training, testing, and verification.
Oh.
Yes, it's that
So you
simple.
train your service providers?
Yes.
We do.
Yes.
What kind of training are we talking about?
So when we say training, we say app training. We have customer service ethics and work ethics. So app training, they should know how to maneuver their way around the app. If someone makes a request, how they can make offers to it, and how they can also raise invoices on the app. And then for the work ethics, basically the do's and don'ts they have to follow when they move to a customer's premises.
Vanessa, which of the games are you eyeing? Which one are you going to play?
I don't want to talk about it.
You don't want to reveal it yet. What about you, Jessica?
Okay,
which one are you playing?
The lime and spoon.
Lime and spoon? Because of you, I'll come and do lime and spoon so that I can win. I can win for multimedia.
We'll be expecting you.
Thank you. I want to give you 30 seconds each to invite our audience directly to either interface with your app or simply come show up at the Joy Sports Invitational Tournament. I'll start with you, Jessica. That's your camera. Jessica, go ahead.
Okay, so you at home watching us, I'm sure you have a skill, and once you have a skill, you qualify to be on the Ayuda app. Just go to the Google Play Store or App Store, download the Ayuda app, AYUDA. Yes, download it, and any kind of service at all that you can provide, you get on board with us, and we will welcome you to join our team.
Okay, Vanessa, you have the final word.
I would like to say that on the D-Day, aside playing and having all the fun, we would also be rendering services on the field. So just get ready, come and experience Ayuda, and you'll never be the same. Thank you.
Thank you. So this is the team from Ayuda Hub Limited, and they're inviting you to the Joy Sports Invitational, where they're going to give you a run for their money. I had in studio Vanessa Ban-Williams. She is a customer experience executive, and Jessica Asari is the social media manager for the Ayuda Hub Limited. Ladies, thank you for coming.
Thank
and I
you.
wish you the very best.
Thank
Not
you.
when it comes to you and I, though. I'm winning for joining you. Stay with me. I'll be right back after this.
Thank you.
So, lime and spoon is. It's a pleasure to have you with me still. This is my final conversation for the day. Did you know that the first week of August is World Breastfeeding Awareness Week? Yeah, if you didn't know, then join me because we want to raise awareness about the critical role of exclusive breastfeeding in ensuring nutrition security and preventing child malnutrition. I have a resource person with me in studio. Mr. Joseph Dankwa is the General Secretary of the Ghana Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, correct?
Yes,
yeah,
that's correct.
Thank you, Mr. Dankwa. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Okay, so first of all, introduce us to GAN's role, GAN as an institution, and then their role in national nutrition advocacy.
So Ghana Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics is a professional body that overlooks the practice of nutrition and dietetics in Ghana. And when it comes to our role, so far as health is concerned, we are responsible for everything between farm to your plate and how that impacts your health.
How is this conversation sit in your role? Because we are marking World Breastfeeding Awareness Week. So how does that connect to what you do at GAND?
It's very, very critical to what we do because as nutritionists and dietitians, we look at how nutrition impacts the health right from conception till the individual leaves the planet. And this week being World Breastfeeding Week, we are advocating for exclusive breastfeeding, especially within the first hour after childbirth, because that is a very critical point where it has a lot of advantages for the newborn.
I've read a lot about how breastfeeding makes your boobs sag, your breast sag. And so many women, new mothers now, are opting for alternative ways of feeding their newborn babies so that their breast will not sag. I want you to put down an argument for us in support or against that school of thought. Well,
that is not entirely true. What is usually lacking during such times is that mothers do not really put a high priority or focus on their nutrition. Because as a breastfeeding mother, you really need to take your nutrition seriously because it is based on your nutrition that the baby also gets high quality breast milk and nutrition. So you need nutrition to maintain your own body, and you need good nutrition to also make quality breast milk for the baby. So if you are getting the adequate nutrition you require as a mother, you would recover and then, go back to, your previous state of being. And you're not going to experience sagging breast or lose weight or anything of that sort.
So give me some evidence to substantiate this claim as to what you have found or discovered so far to back this assertion that breastfeeding is a key strategy for child survival.
Yes, it's important to know that when babies are fed, especially within the first hour after childbirth, the first breast milk that comes out contains what we call colostrum. And colostrum is very important because we consider that as the first vaccine for the baby because it protects the baby against infections, it protects the baby against diarrhea. And babies who get the advantage of getting fed the colostrum also are less likely to die. Does colostrum help reduce neonatal death by 22%, as research has found?
So then I have to ask, can a child do without it?
Yes, a child
because they give them other, I've forgotten the name right now. There's another sort of milk that they buy that they give the baby. Can the child live without the first breast milk that comes out of the
child really needs
formula or something?
Yes, yeah. I know there are a lot of formula, and that is what most health facilities encourage, yes, especially the private health facilities. And it's the reason why this advocacy is very important. The first breast milk, it's very, very important. So we are encouraging mothers who are currently pregnant and looking forward to welcoming their baby to have this at the back of their minds that once the baby is born, the breast milk that is fed the baby within the first hour is very important for initiating the baby's immune system. It gives the baby some form of immunity and protects the baby against infections like sepsis, which is a leading cause of neonatal death.
Mr. Dankwa, there are some new mothers who cannot produce breast milk within the first few hours of delivering that baby. What happens to them then?
Health professionals need to do better in supporting such mothers. Sometimes it's as a result of the stress they have gone through, throughout, the pregnancy and then delivery. So when such mothers receive counseling and they are helped to relax and the midwives are able to help them, the breast milk flows. So I would always insist that, they get the needed support from the health professionals attending to them to be sure that the baby is fed within the first hour.
Do I hear you say that if these new mothers cannot produce breast milk, it's just because there's something the health professionals haven't done yet or tried yet? And so you can, in fact, produce breast milk? Because I've watched a documentary on this and I got the information that there's some women who just cannot produce breast milk. And it's no fault of these health professionals.
Right. If the physiology is such that, it's impossible. And of course, there are certain disease conditions that make it impossible for mothers to even breastfeed their babies when they are born. Yes, in such instances, we do recommend, the baby formula under the guidance of the professional.
Okay. on a lighter note, some of my friends who have children, a lot of them, they'll tell me don't have kids because babies are so expensive. And case in point, formula, right? It's so expensive now. So I'm thinking that the breastfeeding also has some sort of economic benefit to the families. Can you elaborate more on that?
Yes, it does have economic benefits to the families and also a positive effect on our macroeconomy as a country. So imagine a struggling family who has welcomed a newborn into the family. The first 6 months should be dedicated to exclusive breastfeeding, meaning the family is not going to spend money on buying expensive baby formula, which they cannot afford anyway. So if there is any money even for that, that money can be saved, to sort out later expenses after 6 months. And even after 6 months, we still encourage mothers to continue breastfeeding because that is when we advise to initiate the complementary feeding, which is to complement the breast milk, because at that point in the child's development, the breast milk alone cannot sustain or give the babies the entire nutrition requirement he or she needs.
Some women might want to buy into this, ideology, but their workplaces do not support breastfeeding for 6 months. And most of them have like 3 months after birth to go back to work. So let's talk about the environment that women find themselves in and how those who make part of that environment can support them so that they can breastfeed for at least 6 months, like you said.
That's also very important, and it's been an integral part of our advocacy that corporations and policymakers should ensure that the food environment, even for the newborn, is safe in a way that it allows the mothers to be able to give the baby breast milk as and when needed. And I'm proud to say the facility I work for, Sogakope District Hospital, we currently have, a small unit that tends to accommodate babies for the staff, new babies for the staff. So even though the mother had reported to work, time in, time out, the mother can, visit that point. They have a safe place to breastfeed. And also, these mothers are allowed to come work an earlier, late than usual, and also close earlier, 1 hour earlier, than usual. So these policies, when enacted in the workplaces, really help and encourage breastfeeding. And we are also advocating that if governments can, make the maternity leave 6 months, paid maternity leave, it would also help, mothers to focus on breastfeeding their babies. And all of these would help us come up with babies and individuals who are very intelligent and, in the last end, they may contribute to the macroeconomy of our country.
Well, while we are marking World Breastfeeding Awareness Week, I believe you have a message centered on the theme for this year. Let's hear it.
All right, so all I want to say is, and what Gant is advocating for, is that mothers should focus on exclusive breastfeeding for 6 months. And I'm very much aware that a lot of mothers have come up with a claim that babies tend not to eat well when they practice the exclusive breastfeeding. And that is only because sometimes we just expect too much. This is a baby who has been exclusively breastfed, and all the baby knows is the breast milk. So when you are introducing the family meals, we should be patient with the babies. Sometimes all they can eat is a teaspoon or two, and that is fine. With time.
Don't force it.
Yeah, don't force it. Some mothers even go to the extent of holding the baby's nose to force feed them.
We were abused, Mr. Dankwa. That's abuse.
When you continue to do that, the baby tends to develop, awkward attitude towards food.
Right.
And that may be the result of the impact we see and not really related to you practicing exclusive breastfeeding.
Thank you so much. Mr. Joseph Dankwa is the General Secretary of Ghana Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, and he joined us to highlight the theme, Breastfeeding and Nutrition Security, a tool against child malnutrition, as we mark World Breastfeeding Awareness Week this week. Thank you for coming, and I wish you the very best. So that's our show for this morning, folks. The Wednesday edition of the AM show is over. Samuel Kojo Brace and I, Sweetie Abochi, are your hosts, and we thank you so much for joining us throughout the day. Coming up next, Joy News Desk is next with Mamiesi Nyamiche Thompson. Bye for now.